The FBI has raided the office of a prominent Democrat leader in Virginia. This woman was spearheading the redistricting charge. Now, apparently this is related to a corruption probe. Some have said this has to do with her selling pot at her cannabis store or whatever. And of course, the Democrats are framing this entirely as Donald Trump going after his political opponents who are leading the redistricting charge. It doesn't matter what your opinion is. Maybe it's legitimate. Maybe it's not. I think most of us those of you watching this show, as well as I, assume there is a real reason they're going after this Democrat leader in Virginia. And notably, this probe began during the Biden administration. But of course, that won't stop many on the left from framing this as though it's political retaliation. Well, my friends, I don't know, whatever. Doesn't matter. There's a fight. Tennessee, they've introduced their new maps. South Carolina, joining the fray. They're going to introduce their new maps. Mississippi, all the same. Maryland, probably going to happen as well. And with the new primary results, all the people who opposed redistricting in Indiana being gone, well, most of them, 5 of 7, there is now likely going to be a redistricting effort in Indiana as well. It's going to get pretty crazy. People are already protesting, and let me just say, oh boy. So we'll talk about all that. And then we got a mayoral debate for LA happening tonight. We're not going to be covering it directly, but I do want to talk to you guys. We're going to talk a bit about Karen Bass and Spencer Pratt and what is happening in Los Angeles, because just like with New York and Zoran Mamadani, I know that's not his real name. I'm calling him that on purpose. They're in trouble. Big firms are already ditching the city. He's panicking and begging for money, calling it a historic crisis. Well, maybe your policies are not so good. We'll talk about that and more. Before we do, my friends, you got to head over to castbrew.com and pick up the Mother's Day bundle, because every mom wants coffee because they have to deal with you. I'm half kidding. Moms love their kids, but sometimes a good cup of coffee really will help you get you through the day. And so you can check out the Mother's Day bundle. You get 20% off. It's a great deal. Look at this. Beautiful. castbrew.com. Check it out. We got a ton of awesome blends and flavors and all that good stuff. We got pool water by the aluminum bottle. It's because we really care about real water. But also, don't forget, go to Timcast.com, click Join Us to get in the Discord community. There are tens of thousands of people fighting every day, working, hosting shows, debating. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And if you need a network, and you do, and you want to start a project or help someone on theirs, join our Discord community. Get involved. You are helping make this show possible. So don't just sit there as you watch the world pass you by. Stand up. Join the fray, and one way to do it is to become a member at Timcast.com, directly supporting what we are doing here. And, guys, we tied the membership to your involvement. It's not just, hey, give us money and then we'll do the work for you. No. You give us money, support the show, allow us to run the Discord, and then you join in. That's the point. As a member, you can call into this show Monday through Thursday. We do it at 10 p.m. on Rumble. You got to get involved, because now more than ever, it's getting crazy. I'll just put it that way. The FBI is now reportedly investigating the leak into the Atlantic that accused Kash Patel of being a drunkard, which I believe is totally fake. He is not. It is lawfare. We talked about SCOTUS yesterday and how now you've got Alito saying that Ketanji Brown Jackson, her arguments are trivial and an insult to the court. It's all going, well, I'll keep the language family friendly. It's getting crazy out there. So join us, smash the like button, share the show with everyone in your life. Joining us tonight to talk about this and so much more is Angela McArdle.
Hey there. Thanks for having me back.
Anytime. Who are you? What do you do?
My name is Angela McArdle. I'm the chair of the Libertarian Mises Caucus, former chair of the National Libertarian Party.
We're all right on. Thanks for, we have a lot to talk about with you.
So much.
Yeah. So it's great to have you. Of course, the boys are hanging out.
Don't forget to
Always
meditate.
Boys.
What up?
I just seized the moment.
What did you put on your
hat?
a guitar pick?
It is. Carter figured it out.
Oh, wow.
Upside down guitar pick.
Whoa.
Looks like a teardrop. Kind of like a gang sign. Gang symbol? No.
Meditation game?
It feels
Third eye.
good. Yeah, it kind of forces your forehead to not furrow. You know, when people, I want my forehead to be flat. To be like,
There's a
You should
patch
get some
for
Botox.
oh, naturally. What's
Elaad's
That.
here.
Patch for that.
Good evening, everybody. I am Elaad Eliyahu, White House correspondent here at Timcast. Let's get into the show.
Carter's here.
All right, what's up,
Turn the
everyone?
camera to me. No,
Oh, man.
You're just hanging, baby.
I'm also here, and
And Ian's here, of course.
I'm glad, Angela, I'm glad you're here too, man. Let's go.
Okay.
There's a lot to talk about. Let's get into the news. Here we go from AP. FBI searches Virginia Senate leader's office as part of corruption probe. The FBI searched the Virginia State Senate leader's hometown office and her neighboring cannabis shop Wednesday, bringing into public view what was described as a years-long corruption investigation. The searches at Democratic Senator L. Louise Lucas's office and cannabis business are part of what two people familiar with the matter called a corruption inquiry. One of the people said the investigation was opened during Joe Biden's administration. Both spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss an ongoing criminal investigation. Now, famously, this is the lady that was going ham saying, let's nuke the Republican districts. She's posted incessantly on X about it. She's also very old. But then we have this. How is the left handling it? From the New Republic, FBI raids office of top Democratic leader in redistricting wars. Their framing, of course, will not be the Biden-initiated investigation into corruption, but, of course, the redistricting wars. Now, she is the president pro temp in the Virginia Senate, one of the most prominent and long-standing Democrats in Virginia, the last bastion of the deep state. Whatever you think, I'm just going to say it, guys. It's a war, right?
Yes.
SCOTUS, Alito saying Ketanji Brown Jackson's arguments are trivial and insulting. The fight is even in the Supreme Court amongst themselves. Not the first time, but it certainly is escalating. I don't know where this goes other than geographic hyperpolarization through redistricting, DOJ launching investigations and making arrests of Democrats. Meanwhile, when the Democrats were in power, they did the same to the Republicans and their lawyers. So you tell me what happens in 2028, depending on who wins.
They started this. They started this.
What did they start?
Who started what?
Democrats, not Jews. They. Oh. Who is they? Democrats started this. They went after President Trump in 2016 to try to ruin his life and take out anybody and everybody associated with him. And they just totally weaponized the DOJ. And it's awful. And I hate that this is where politics are at. But at this point, it's a defensive posture. The least we could do is finish an investigation that was started by Joe Biden's administration.
But you know, the point is, like, yes, we can see that. But, you know, in 2020, census came in. Texas said we're going to redistrict. In 2021, they announced their maps. And then the Biden administration said no and blocked them. When Trump got in, he said, OK, stop. Pulled back on the lawsuit, dropped it, allowing Texas to finally implement their maps, which the Democrats said, hey, what are you doing? It's too late. You can't make new maps. Like, what? Joe Biden stopped them from doing it in the first place. January 20th, 2017, far-left extremists rioted in Washington, D.C., smashing windows, starting fires, injuring police. It was a raucous insurrection in Washington, D.C. I was there. Well, these people all got arrested. Then, when Joe Biden got into office in April, the federal government announced a settlement paying out $1.6 million to these extremists. So when they say things like Trump pardoned the J6ers, I say, wow, did he give them $1.6 million like Biden did to the insurrection in 2017? Now, I do believe some of the J6ers actually are going to get a settlement for malicious prosecution or things like that. But the point is this. I do not believe the principal motivation for going after this Virginia Democrat really is just that there was a corruption probe during the Biden administration. As we can see over and over again, it has been an escalation. I look at it like it's a tower swinging back and forth, and every 4 years it swings more violently one way and then the other. Democrats, you know, Donald Trump gets in, arrests Antifa. Biden gets in, cuts them all loose, pays them $1 million, 1.6. J6ers then get arrested. Trump gets in, pardons all the J6ers. You see, I think this is going to culminate in shooting. I do not see how this escalation results in anything other than escalation. The Democrats do not believe that this is because she's corrupt. They think Trump is trying to go after anybody who would redistrict. And I don't know that's 100% the case, but if Trump and the GOP operate as though that is not the case, Democrats will crush them.
Yeah. You have to.
It's a fascinating and confusing political environment right now. I feel like we all want to believe that the DOJ isn't being politically weaponized right now, but because there have been so many questionable indictments that have already been dismissed, it's hard to know for sure. So, for example, there was a first Comey indictment that I believe was already dismissed. There was an indictment against Tish James that I believe was also already dismissed. I don't know if the Schiff one was already dismissed, but I think the punishment is the process in this case. I don't know if they are looking to convict on any of these charges, but just being investigated by the DOJ sucks. So if that's what they're going for, it's only going to escalate, obviously, from here. I'd like to hope they have the goods. You don't want to see the DOJ just indicting political enemies. You hope to have you hope that they end up bringing something to court that, you know, is viable and doesn't just immediately get dismissed. But because otherwise, I mean, I do suspect this only escalating, and I think this is going to discourage and disincentivize people from getting involved in politics in the future. I mean, of course, what does this mean for people in the president's administration currently? Because if they do lose the House and when they do eventually get out of office, I'm sure there will be endless investigations into them. So I don't know where that'll leave someone like Stephen Miller after the fact, or Secretary of War Pete Hegseth after the fact, or many of these congressmen or other administration and cabinet officials after the fact.
I think, I assume, or it seems that people think it's either going to be escalation in this direction, or people are going to stop this prosecution that's going after Jim Comey, and then we lose. So it's one or the other. It's either lose and don't prosecute, don't play the political tit for tat, or play the tit for tat, and then it escalates to a civil war, which is also losing. So I don't understand. Like, there's got to be more ways than these two things.
I understand why the president has a bone to pick, because he was also, unfortunately, the DOJ was weaponized against him consistently. And like, they brought multiple indictments, and I don't think he was convicted on anything. And they were trying to take him out of the election legally, but they couldn't do so. And then once he was able to get back into the power, he wanted to go on a revenge tour. And like, you could understand that perspective.
But we would call that an accountability tour.
It is an
tour, sure.
They have an anti-weaponization task force in the DOJ to try to unravel all of the weaponization of the previous administration.
But then why isn't Fauci getting charged for perjury? If like Rand Paul's been screaming about this day after
that preemptive pardon from Biden, didn't?
But that's not for lying under oath. That's why Rand Paul is incessantly, he's got like 3 more days for the DOJ to press charges against Fauci. And Rand Paul's been on Twitter every day. 20,000 likes, please. Now we have to charge Fauci with lying under oath. Where's that? If they're really going on a revenge, if they're really trying to solve the who did wrong in the past.
Lying under oath will open a box of worms. There are a lot of former elected officials and a lot of cabinet officials who lie under oath.
It's not just that. I think I'll put it like this: a lot of people see Fauci as a figurehead during COVID.
Yep.
Trump hired the guy, or like, he didn't hire him, but Trump kept him on. But they view him as a figurehead. And so they say, we want him charged. However, if you're actually looking at the org chart of the deep state, he's nothing. He's over there in the corner. And so you're asking the DOJ to divert its resources from people like this in Virginia, who are leading the redistricting fight and corrupt, according to this probe. I mean, the probe's real. But you don't know who she is. The average American knows Fauci, but Fauci ain't doing nothing.
He's not doing
Sure, you can call him a liar under oath. You can call him criminal, whatever you want, but he's over there. This lady's here right now, and that's the challenge. You give the red meat to the base, I'm sure the Democrats would love it. They'd be like, oh, thank God he's going after Fauci instead of someone actually pulling the strings.
I also kind of feel like if someone is directed to lie under oath by the president and they do it, kind of got to blame the president, not the guy that lied.
Nope.
I don't know, man. At some point,
just following orders is not an excuse for committing a crime.
Then Fauci should 100% be charged.
There's limited resources. We don't know what the investigation. It's totally possible that people looked into it and they were like, this is not going to bear fruit, and we're not going to be able to get through this and get a solid conviction. And sure, the
perjury convictions are notoriously difficult to get.
The punishment is absolutely, or the process is part of the punishment, but it just, those man hours may be needed more in something like this with Virginia, and I'm sure there's many other cases. People like this just slip through the cracks.
You know, with the war and everything that's going on, it's becoming more and more clear that Trump's midterm strategy is political and not popular. Yeah, I don't mean he's not popular. I'm saying instead of targeting the vote, he's targeting the machine.
Yeah, it's really disturbing because that was what they were trying to do to him in 2020. No. They were trying to arrest him so he couldn't run. But if he still.
They did in 2020 to him.
They tried to stop him from running by making him a felon. And they couldn't. And even if they had made him a felon, you might have seen a Julius Caesar moment where it's like, bro, what other choice do I have?
That's where we're at right now.
And so if they push the other side into that Julius Caesar moment, the other side might be like, what other choice do I have? So like the lawfare tactic, the numbers don't decide how we live our lives. It's how people are. It's what they say, how they treat each other, and what they do. So trying to write some crap in a book and say, now I win is like, bro, that has failed a million times before.
4 states unconstitutionally altered the rules of their election.
Totally.
So that Joe Biden could win.
And then they tried to sue. Other states tried to sue. People tried to sue, and the court shot it down.
Supreme Court said no. Alito and Thomas said we need to go over this, and the rest of the court said no because they're cowards.
Yep.
And you know what I think it really comes down to is in 2020, there was a bet made by prominent individuals, notably like Brett Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett, who could have sided with Alito and Thomas, but they would have needed one more. Roberts and Gorsuch. And they said, which side do we want to be on? And they said, is Trump really capable of breaking the deep state? And they probably said to themselves, I don't think so. Let's not give Trump a win. They'll come after us. I mean, someone tried to kill Kavanaugh.
Yeah.
And so they cowardly refused to take up a court case, a lawsuit filed. I want you to imagine how insane this is, right? Texas filed a suit against Pennsylvania, Georgia, Wisconsin, and I can't remember the other state. It might have been North Carolina. And maybe not, but it's 4 states.
Arizona, I think.
Was it Arizona?
I mean,
you may be correct.
I might.
I can pull it up in a second. Imagine if somebody came and kicked your dog.
Yep.
Seriously injuring it. On camera. Everybody watched it happen. And
for the record, it was Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin.
Oh.
And they said it's okay because it's COVID.
No. And then you file a lawsuit for the medical bills, for the veterinary bills for your dog. And the court says no. And you go, well, I'm filing a lawsuit. Like, no. We're allowed to file lawsuits. You can sue a ham sandwich in this country. No. That's what happened with Texas v. Pennsylvania. Texas said, we are filing suit against Pennsylvania. And the only court that can hear it went, no.
No.
Wait, what? There's a lawsuit filed. You got to hear it. You can dismiss it on what? They just said we're not going to hear it.
Every court did it too, not just the Supreme Court, where the state level decision, judicial consensus. That Ron Coleman does a good job. I don't know if you've had him on your show.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
So what happens then is they all made a bet. We are not going to let Trump. We do not believe Trump can defeat the deep state, and we do not want to get on the bad side of them. The only problem is Trump did. And he won in 2024.
Yep.
The way that Donald Trump lost in 2020, and he did lose, was through ballot harvesting. These states were sued because they unilaterally created universal mail-in voting, despite the fact it was not legal and it was not constitutional. And in fact, not only in Pennsylvania was it federally unconstitutional, it was unconstitutional at the state level.
Yep.
These lawsuits sought to challenge that. Well, the courts refused to hear it. The universal mail-in votes went into effect, and then Joe Biden ended up getting 80 million votes, which a lot of conservatives don't believe is possible. That's what happened. In 2024, they did not have that advantage because there was no lockdown. And Kamala Harris and Joe Biden were not going to be able to muster it. They were going to expend way too many resources. They did not have a good candidate. Trump gets in, and now Trump shattered USAID, shattered their source of funding, and they are desperate. And it is only going to get worse if they end up winning. That being said, I'm optimistic. The redistricting battle is in the GOP's core. I mean,
yes.
Trump's advantage is tremendous in this. I don't see the Republicans losing right now. I don't.
I'm unsure.
I mean losing the war. I don't know about the midterms.
Right. Yeah, I don't know about the midterms. I hope that all of this pays off. It's unfortunate that there are a lot of, MAGA, populist, libertarian, coalition people who are unhappy with decisions of the administration. I still want the administration to win. Like, we need it. It's an existential threat.
I don't
what does it
think
look like when you say to win? What does that look like?
Win the midterms.
So I don't. A majority in midterms is what you mean?
I mean, the most important thing is that the Republicans maintain control of the Senate. Obviously maintaining control of Congress.
That's basically guaranteed, the Senate. Because
there's a couple of kind of scary races right now.
Yeah, but based on the current prediction markets and polling, Republicans are going to get 50 seats. So these are seats that don't just lean. These are, we'll call it's a little bit more than lean, right? They're likely. So there's your guaranteed red seats and your likely red seats, and then toss-ups. If all of the toss-ups go Democrat, J.D. Vance is still the tiebreaker. Republicans still hold the Senate. However, procedurally, I do think that Republicans are going to, are likely, I should say, to keep the House.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I mean, they're looking at gaining 12 seats right now. Currently, they're up 7.
Redistricting that's the thing that can just...
Republicans are up 7 seats.
Yeah.
What I will say on the war front, I don't think Trump cares about the polling. I think that the redistricting is enough to get him over the edge regardless. Most people don't care. And I will also add that I believe the conversation around the war consists largely. The first thing I would say is the first problem with the conversation on the war is lies make up a large portion, misunderstandings make up a small portion, and the truth makes up the tiniest portion of the conversation on the Iran war.
Just to add to the redistricting conversation too for a second, I know also people have been talking about the waning influence of the president apparently on the party. I know there are people in the wings of the party waiting to really pounce and try to claim the Republican Party for their own. But there was just a Republican primary held in Indiana yesterday. I don't know if you guys talked about it.
We did.
Yesterday's show where he flipped 5 or 6.
5 of 7.
That was
5
great.
of 7.
The people who opposed him all lost.
Yeah,
That was
state senators in Indiana who kind of bucked him when he said he wanted them to redistrict. I think it would have netted them another seat or two over there.
Let's jump to the story from NBC News. Republicans unveil proposed congressional map that carves up Tennessee's lone Democrat district. That said, I mean, it barely has a Democrat district to begin with, but indeed, they have unveiled their map. Hey, but wait, there's more. Southern Republicans press ahead with election year redistricting of U.S. House despite protests. I don't know if I have the Mississippi one pulled up. No, we'll pull that one up in a second. But Mississippi is also preparing for the same thing. I do, however, have this beautiful interactive map coded by our Claude friend over at Claude.ai. And you can see here, currently, this is what we're looking at. In effect, there are 7 states that are currently in this battle. 2 states are pending a decision this week. That's Tennessee, their vote, and the Virginia appeal. There are 5 more states pushing. And if all of these resolve the way they're trying, there will be 2 Republican seats. However, the Indiana may revive next year, which would trigger a swing for 2 more seats in 2028. Now, currently, I believe the Republicans are up 7 seats. We don't know if Virginia is going to succeed. Virginia is being challenged, and the court may actually say you can't do it. It's ridiculous. Tennessee likely will succeed. And then you can see we have a bunch of other states. So the battle is on, and Maryland actually has voted for a 9-0 map. They moved forward despite the fact the scumbags. You want to know why the Republicans in Indiana lost? They cut a deal with Maryland. We won't redistrict. You don't redistrict. How does that sound?
Wow.
And Maryland was like, sounds good to us. The Republicans then voted not to, and the Democrats voted to do it.
Of course they did.
However, in the Senate, I believe in the state Senate, they say Senate President Bill Ferguson refused to bring it to a vote despite it passing 99-37. Rep. Raskin, overwhelming sentiment now is for Maryland to join Virginia and California. Ferguson faces a primary challenge from Bobby Lepin, described as close. If Ferguson loses, the map likely revives quickly. So, oh boy. Now, here's what gets really interesting. If all of the states are forced to redistrict as per the DOJ's rules, New Jersey gains a Republican seat. Pennsylvania gains 2 Republican seats. We're looking at like a 12 to 15 seat swing if Harmeet Dillon comes in with the hammer.
Does that indicate that the majority of the country is Republican?
Yes.
Harmeet Dillon
think it makes
is a
sense.
human hammer. So
She's amazing. So I'm being somewhat, I mean, it's not a yes, but I will say the plurality was Republican. And I will say this. When you say is majority of the country Republican, what do you mean by the country?
The borders of the 50 states.
I would argue that with 10 to 20 million illegal immigrants, they are neither Democrat nor Republican.
Yeah.
And so we have a spattering. If you include those people in it, then no, the majority of people aren't Republican because we have a bunch of people who are foreigners, immigrants, legal immigrants, but who don't care, and people who vote Democrat for free stuff. So
citizens
on a
within
net
the 50
level,
states.
I think in the upcoming election, the Democrats will net receive more votes, but depending on how they're spread out across the country is how the seats are allocated. So they'll run up numbers in particular cities, and that's why they'll have more net votes, but they won't net as many seats.
now the
And it's not
question
supposed
is,
to be directly correlated.
is this nation
Population.
largely Republican? The answer is yes, 100%. If you go to a Democrat, you know, like you've got this Pramila Jayapal or whatever going and she's trying to coordinate with Russia and other countries to bypass U.S. sanctions on Cuba, which is insane. You know, I don't consider these people to be a part of a nation. A nation is not just a border. It is a border and its people. And when you ask the question of who Americans really are, I would argue that many of the older generation have done a disservice to this country in allowing non-Americans to come and take up residence en masse in this country and subvert the will of Americans. And so what I mean to say is, I hate the term heritage American. Just say American. Don't qualify that you're an American. And we talked about this yesterday. Call the people who are here paperwork Americans.
That works.
Yeah, these are, so my point is this.
Technicalities.
If you come here legally as a migrant and fill out all the paperwork and then take the test and pass that test, you're great. You're an American. I'm fine with that. However, when policies are created to give the fast pass to H-1Bs, and they lie, cheat, and steal to do it, they claim you know what these companies do? They'll put an ad in the newspaper saying we're hiring. And then when no one answers the newspaper classified, say, I guess we have no choice but to hire from India. Because the H-1Bs require that you try to hire Americans first. This is, in my opinion, fraud. This is fraudulent. So I don't consider those people to be legal migrants. I consider it to be fraud. Now, the problem is we have people with the right to vote in this country who are not legal Americans. They used a fraudulent scheme to come into this country, and they are now subverting the will of the people. Most importantly, Zoran Mamdani, who argued in his campaign, despite the fact that the plurality of voters, the popular vote, said we want immigration enforced, he said he will do everything in his power to protect illegal immigrants from the will of the American voter. That is not an American. I'm sorry, I'm putting it like this. The American people all go vote. And they say, let's do away with bad thing. Guy steps up and says, I'm going to make sure bad thing stays. And I'm like, okay, that is a guy who opposes the will of the American people. He does not count. That's Zoran Mamdani.
He's like a WEF citizen. They want globally homogenous populations across the world ruled by bureaucratic NGOs.
I mean, I half agree with that, except for the fact that it only affects Europe and the United States and like the Western countries, the British Empire.
They're not really worried about anywhere else because that's not where they view wealth and power.
Well,
they're not worried about them yet.
I suppose, if it says anything about the average woke person's inability to comprehend reality, it would make sense that the Davos group people also can't. And they don't understand that implementing these things just breaks the system and then China takes over.
No idea. Naive and incredibly narcissistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy that they want to centralize power in the corporations where it's like, bro, local governments and like dudes with rifles in their houses is what keeps this country safe.
Corporations, NGOs, these like extra governmental regulatory bodies. That was one of the best things that this administration has done is pulling out of the WHO.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
There's a bunch of things. TPP.
Yep.
All of this weird give China everything policy that's been going on for 30 years.
Listen to bureaucrats from other countries on how we should run our healthcare. Get out.
The UN is kind of like that, too. Unelected. Strange.
It's unelected.
I was going to pivot and ask you, I know there's been some consternation among libertarian MAGA types. You invited the president to speak at the last libertarian convention that you guys held. What do you think about how he's been governing, and are you disappointed as a libertarian-minded person in his administration?
I'm ecstatic that we got any concessions or wins. I think it's amazing. We have had, for over 50 years, our party at the federal level has had 0 wins. Nothing.
Yeah, he reminded you of that, too, in his speech.
Freed Ross Ulbricht. Yeah, I mean, I reminded them of it, every day when we're sitting in stupid meetings. We got Ross Ulbricht freed. He put Kennedy in the cabinet as a cabinet secretary, and everybody was like, oh, we're hoping it was a more libertarian. Kennedy's a lifetime member of the LP. Mm-hmm. We just got 2 things. We went from 0 to 2. And that's like the hardest thing to do is to go from 0 to 1.
Can I ask you more about that lobbying effort in regard to Ross Ulbricht? For people who don't know, I think he was one of the managers or owners originally of the Silk Road.
He's the architect of the Silk Road.
Architect of the Silk Road. This was a, what is it, the dark internet or what have you? And
that's a dark website.
A dark website where they were mostly selling drugs and stuff. I think they pinned a lot of it on him.
Surfboards and, other things.
A majority
too.
of what people went there to
But it was basically
was
like a Craigslist. No, more like a Yelp.
Yeah, well, I guess I wanted people to understand why he went to prison originally. Can you tell me about
IDs?
Yeah, can you tell me about the lobbying effort to get him out?
Sure. So, I mean, it wasn't lobbying. There were people who were friends with President Trump who reached out to me and said, the president wants to talk to you about how to get the vote. How do we get the libertarian vote? So I had a meeting with Rick Grinnell, who's also phenomenal person, who was not on the Trump campaign, but was a friend of President Trump's, former acting director of national intelligence in his first term. He met with us and was like, what do the libertarians think about President Trump? And I, unlike almost every other libertarian on the face of the planet, was very diplomatic in my answers. And I said, we love that he started no new wars in that term. We're not like real crazy about the drone strikes on Soleimani thing. That was a little but we're very sympathetic to him with how the justice system has been weaponized against him, and we hope he wins and beats all of that. And it was like, oh, that was a good answer, you know. So we met, and you know, it was like Trump actually called me, you know, on someone else's phone, passed the phone to me, and I spoke with him for about 45 minutes. And he's like, how do I get the vote? I want to get the vote. I got to get the libertarian vote. That Jo Jorgensen, she cost me the vote. She cost me the vote. She got 5%. And I was like, she got like 1.2%.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, she got 1.2%.
And also, real quick, just it's this weird Republican assumption they just are guaranteed libertarian votes.
I know, and as we have learned, there's a bunch of like
Transgender,
leftists,
furry,
weird
libertarians.
Well, there's also just uneducated protest votes, and that does eat into it. But anyway, you know, I was like, yeah, let me think about it. I'm happy to share with you. Like, as the chair of another political party, I can't just like get you on our ballot or just like make it so, or put out an official endorsement, but I want you to be more libertarian. This is a win-win, you know? And so I met with him at Mar-a-Lago 2 weeks later, and I was thinking about like, you know, I've been thinking the whole time, what do I ask? You know, it's like, what does every libertarian want? They want to end the Fed, you know, abolish the IRS. I'm like, but he can't do that. He's one person. What can he do? He can free Ross Ulbricht. And so I asked that, and he just went, who's Ross Ulbricht? I'll do it. I'll free him.
Before even knowing who he was.
He said, it's burned into my memory.
Amazing.
He said, I'll walk out on stage and I'll say, free Ross Ulbricht, mic drop. I love freeing people. And I was like, this is like, I was like sweating bullets. I was stressed. I think the only person I asked the opinion of it for was like Michael Malice. Lynn Ulbricht, his mother had no idea.
Wow.
Ross had no idea. His wife had no idea. And
I'll
so
do it. I love freeing people.
I was like sweating bullets, and he's just like, yeah, whatever. You know, what do you think about weed? He asked my husband, have you ever smoked marijuana?
Well, you saw he just rescheduled.
Oh,
that
wait.
Yeah.
So he was doing a press conference after getting elected, and he was asked about pardoning Ross Ulbricht. And he's like, I don't know who he is, but I promised I'd do it, so I did.
It's amazing. So, and
Promises
on
made,
that
promises
note,
kept.
exactly.
He's a man
I'm
of his word.
trying to ask the administration to get some more Bitcoiners out of prison right now.
Wow.
Yeah. So the Samurai Wallet developers, hardcore libertarians, but well-behaved, you know.
But I think one of the problems you guys are having right now is, aside from the fact that the party is half gay communists, now of the sane half, it's just Israel posters.
Ugh, the sane half.
Well, like, not all of the sane half has become Israel posters, but many of them are just Israel posters.
It's a problem. It's a huge problem. You know, what I've wanted the party to do, especially the Mises Caucus, is like, don't give up on peaceful foreign policy. But we have to look at like a variety of issues. Maha issues, a lot of them, not every Maha issue, but a lot of them matter. They're things that we can win on. They're things that we 100% agree with. Tennessee LP has done a great job of working with Maha. Bitcoin, they're almost all libertarians. You know, Ian Freeman is still sitting in prison. I believe he's been moved to West Virginia, actually. He's from New Hampshire. He served 8 years for operating an unlicensed Bitcoin ATM. He's still serving the time, which was a regulatory gray area at the time. Regulatory gray area. Federal government hated it. 8 years. How many murderers have gone, like, basically been released at this point?
But why aren't these guys getting pardoned?
Well, because there are things like the Iran war, all of the things that we're covering, a weaponization of it. Everything is competing for number one. So I think that the administration is likely to pardon them. There's just like literally 5 or 6 people on my list. I mean, I've got like 60
Can
people,
can these libertarians understand you do not have the cards to win ending Iran or Middle Eastern war, but you do have the cards to get these people out of prison?
Some of them do, and some of them are getting it. So I'm like, how about instead of screaming at me that I'm taking $7,000 for not posting about Israel, it's just the height of absurdity of $7,000 for not, like, they're like, you're Israel, you're a Jew. I'm like, McArdle. I'm literally not a Jew, but whatever. Like, instead of being total tards, why don't we focus on getting like Keone and Ian and Roman out of prison?
Just to play devil's advocate.
And more importantly, just getting precedent on these laws in the first place.
Yes.
Affecting things we can affect.
Which also, by the way, like, this is, if you're angry about the Federal Reserve and all this stuff, how about we back this alternate financial system and make sure that it's welcome in the United States so the whole industry doesn't move to El Salvador?
Yeah, which is
Stupid.
Who are these guys you want to get pardoned? These 5 dudes?
Ian Freeman, Roman Storm. He has not gone to prison yet. And you can read about all of them on cryptoprisoners.com. They all have petitions and stuff. Roman Sterlingov, he is sitting in prison. This poor dude got 12 years for operating, allegedly, the Bitcoin Fog wallet. And he didn't even do it. It's just insane. It's a mixer. Sorry. Ian, Roman, Keone Rodriguez, and William Hill. And they're of the Samurai wallet.
So they started like wallets that were in a
Non-custodial
gray
software.
area?
Yeah, non-custodial.
What's
not
the-
even a gray area. FinCEN said that they were okay. Like, they did actually go through most of them and get permission on everything.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So wait,
of
they
that.
literally just created a non-custodial wallet?
Non-custodial, never touched a dollar from anyone else. And
Yeah,
got,
Rumble's got one. It's called the Rumble Wallet.
Yeah,
They made
and
one.
Are we
got
missing
guidance
something?
from FinCEN.
You're not leaving anything out?
No.
Okay.
No.
I need to look into these cases.
If she
but
was
I
a
mean,
Democrat, it would turn out they were all pedophiles or something, but she's not. She's a libertarian,
Well,
so it turns
I'll
out
tell
there is.
you-
I mean,
that-
I understand
yeah.
too, because the way people would characterize as Ross's case was different than the way you would characterize it
Totally.
as well. So that's why I'm trying to
I will
understand.
tell
And I would
you
say that they're liars.
That there are like
Sure.
60.
Well, he helped facilitate drug dealing on his website.
But like, he had a website where people did drug trafficking, right? Let's
He
clarify.
facilitated the drug trafficking via his website. Yes.
He did not. No, incorrect.
He
Well,
He
I
couldn't-
wouldn't
see
have
the
been able to be
argument.
trafficked without his website.
He made a website, so it's like, imagine if Craigslist got arrested because we know that underage prostitutes are on
Correct.
Craigslist.
Imagine eBay got away with like you were selling drugs on eBay, and eBay allowed you to do it.
That's a great point. Imagine if they went and arrested the CEO of eBay because someone sold
Is
an illegal
eBay
product.
allowing drugs
Section
to be sold
230
on their
protects
website?
protects these companies.
Protects eBay's
How about Facebook?
allowing people to sell
where-
drugs on their platform?
So when what was that website from, with the CISA
Backdoor.
Backpage?
Backpages.
Did they arrest the founders of Backpage and criminally charge them for sex trafficking?
I think actually after a while they threatened to, and then they shut it down, but they didn't serve any time.
The issue is eBay and Craigslist. People commit crimes on these platforms, and they're not arresting the CEOs of them.
Well,
What
eBay's
you, what you normally do as a company, you come to them and you say, "Hey, your website is being used
Just to
for
go
bad
deeper,
things."
I don't remember all of the details, but I also recall that he was involved in like a murder for hire plot. I want to
It
get
was-
all the details out because
sure.
I don't want to misquote
That
these things specifically.
was
But there are
all
other
dropped.
details in these.
Yeah, I think that was fake, and that was not part of it.
all dropped, and there were no charges brought on it. That's
Wasn't the only charges fake IDs or something?
I think so. It was like a whole poison the well situation
Yeah.
where they bring nasty charges
wanna-
against you, and then
I just
right
don't want to
before
leave anything
trial.
out in these important cases.
I'll point
All right, so let me tell you.
I will clarify, to be fair, the website had a high density of
Yeah.
illicit activity. But I want to stress about Kim.com as well. Kim.com operated a file locker, mega upload in, what was it, like the late 2000s?
Yep.
Late 2000s. This website was intended for, at launch, I can store things online like Google Drive, and then I can download them from anywhere. It was one of the first iterations of cloud computing. People started uploading copyrighted material to it. Kim.com, who has never set foot in the United States, got takedown notices and says, you got it. The only problem is too many people were, it was a hive, it was a swarm of piracy. So when they went to him and said, take it down, he would say, we will take down anything you want. The problem is he's not American.
Yep.
There are too many people pirating. They can't stop all of it. They need to shut his company down, but can't. So what do? Locked him up, raided his house in the middle of the night, put him in jail in New Zealand. It was a Hong Kong-based company, and he had never been to the United States, and the U.S. and New Zealand raided him, charged him, and I don't think he's ever had a day in prison. But the argument that because he operated a legitimate website, because there's too much bad stuff going on, is absurd, considering tons of other user-generated content websites have the same thing going on.
Facebook has human trafficking and sex trafficking of children. It's
And
totally
Zuckerberg,
gross.
and you know what's funny?
Instagram, too.
When Instagram got called out for it, they had like an internal meeting and just like, oh, we better not say anything.
Guys, I don't know. Are we beating around the bush here?
Okay.
I used the Silk Road at one point. I know what the Silk Road is. It was almost 100% used for drugs. People weren't buying other things off of the
wrong.
Silk Road. And
Oh,
It was a
think
crit-
that's
it-
all
it was
wrong.
what else do you think people were
Finish your
buying off
thought.
the
Finish
Silk
your
Road?
thought. What-
No, and these other websites like Facebook, although there might be some trafficking there, that's That's not what the platforms are generally used for. I think why libertarians had an affinity for Albrecht and the Silk Road was because it like embodied libertarian ideals of free markets. So like they liked the idea.
He was also
let's have the facts.
Listen, he was overcharged. They charged him with kingpin status. He served 10 years for
So hold on. Let's. I want to make sure we have the facts correct.
Yeah.
The purpose of the Silk Road was so that people could use cryptocurrencies to trade things. First, many people, because they were able to use crypto, they set up illicit shops where it's like, buy this mystical white powder. Everyone knew it was cocaine, right? So people were using it for illicit activities largely. But again, the purpose of the site is so if I have Bitcoin and I want to buy something, I can list it here because you can't do that on eBay or anywhere else. I also want to stress, I don't know if this theory is true or if Ross has ever commented on it, but one of the initial theories is that he's actually not the person who started the website, nor the person who made any of this happen. And that's why his moniker on the site was Dread Pirate Roberts, that he had simply been handed an admin status from the person who made the website, and they went after him because they needed someone to pin it on.
And or there were multiple Dread Pirate Roberts. Now, about these guys, I'm going to tell you that I've got a list of like 60 plus people who are likely deserving of pardons and have been grossly overcharged and or innocent. But these guys, been through their criminal files, been through, spoken with their attorneys, spoken with their wives, not guilty, shouldn't be in prison. Big difference.
To bring it all together, and where you're going to agree, Elaad, is the libertarians have become hyper obsessed on the Iran war, and I don't blame many of them. I'm always a fan and friend of Dave Smith. I think he's smart. I think he's charismatic. I think he hits his points perfectly in a way that makes you laugh, and I respect him for it. But there are a lot of people that seem disingenuous, and they are not approaching this political. I don't want to necessarily say the whole party because you do have the gay communists in there.
Sure.
They're not approaching their capability as a faction.
Agreed.
Honorably or in a way that is effective.
Agreed.
You're not going to go to Trump, call him a traitor, a tyrant, a warmonger, and expect any kind of, let's just say, consideration.
Right, which is why I don't do it. And they're so angry about it. We are going to advance asymmetrically. I've said to them over and over again, publicly, privately, in meetings, guys, we're not going to get foreign policy. I know that that's like you care so much about it and like it's a good and worthy thing to care about. But there are so many other things, smaller things, more in line with our voting block size that we could get. And we should exercise diplomacy, and we should get those things.
I do love this, though. I got to say this for Dave and for Tucker. Donald Trump took 100 to 160 million from Miriam Adelson, and it was reported far and wide. The purpose was she expected Trump to help facilitate the annexation of the West Bank. That's what all the reporters at the time, 100 to 160 million dollars in pro-Trump PACs and super PACs to help him win. And it was reported as a quid pro quo because she is pro-Israel. Tucker and Dave both knew that when they supported.
Everybody knew that
Israel didn't annex.
I know.
Judea Samaria. So it looks like.
The point is, Miriam Adelson said, I want these efforts and I'll support you if you're behind me. And Trump reportedly, again, I don't know exactly what the deal was, but he was like, we'll do what we can. And so.
It's not the position of the administration, just for the record,
not.
to allow the Israelis to take over Judea and Samaria.
I don't think anyone's doing anything about it.
I understand, that they are.
I don't think that anybody should be surprised that the president is pro-Israel. I wasn't surprised by that going in.
He moved the embassy to Jerusalem. He killed Soleimani. There's no way these people who are like, oh my God, I can't believe he did this, did not know it was a possibility.
It's okay to
play
disagree.
Devil's advocate for a second here, Angelo, though. I completely understand why so many in the Libertarian Party were ticked off because, the resurgence of the party was really based off of the back of Ron Paul. And I feel like this is really indicative or downstream from Ron Paul's foreign policy. All the rest of this stuff was kind of extra. A lot of these guys centrally appreciated Ron Paul's foreign policy.
Certainly.
Like that's what
I want to stress the point back to the point the point I was making when I said I would say the majority of the conversation on the war is intentional lies followed by misunderstanding. Every time I watch these analyses or assessments largely from the anti-war faction, of which I have largely been in my entire life anti-intervention.
Yep.
And even this war I question, but I don't sit here and go, well, I was opposed to Iraq and Afghanistan for legitimate reasons we had learned over a decade, and now I'm going to just say Iran is bad. No, hold on. The question is, what is Trump doing? What is the U.S. doing? Why are they doing it? And it's difficult to understand. What I can say at least is this. When the people come out and they're saying, and now Trump is flip-flopping, he doesn't know what he's doing, I'm like, okay, you're lying. Listen, he moved on Venezuela, he moved on Cuba, he took money from Miriam Adelson. We know that there is some structure behind what he's doing with the Strait of Hormuz. And so the question needs to be, who benefits? What is the current result of the war with Iran? And all I end up seeing, or I should say for the most part, from the most prominent people, is Trump made a mistake entering the war because Israel made him do it, and now he's floundering. And I'm sitting here being like, then why did he go after Venezuela first?
Can I also say that he was President Trump was tweeting about Iran, how they can't have nukes and this, that, and beyond, things that were basically not pro-Iran back in 2014.
But this is why I say it's a lie, because Tucker comes out and is like, I can't believe he would do this. And then his brother immediately goes, maybe that money from Miriam Adelson meant something. And he goes, and it's like, yeah, Tucker, because you knew the whole time. And now he's pretending like he didn't.
So to your point, Ilana, there are groups within the Libertarian Party that are holding an anti-war rally in connection with the Libertarian National Convention. It's going to be Sunday, May 24th. I'm not organizing it, but it does exist. It's another Rage Against the War Machine, smaller scale. Scott Horton will be speaking, Dan McKnight, a handful of other speakers, and people who want to support it can go to tinyurl.com/Rage Rapids.
Can I?
And I hope they have a great time.
Ian, if I can.
Yeah, go for it, man. These are some of my best friends in politics I want to talk about too, but go.
Yeah, I think these are some of the worst people in politics because of what they're willing to do. One of the things that animates my politics most is really a hatred for the left, beyond anything else. And time again, I think of the Libertarian Party and libertarians as a Trojan horse for the left. And why is that? They're used as useful idiots for communists and leftists, frankly.
Well, no,
Angela, you've been willing.
Elaad, real quick. Half of them are gay communists.
Yeah, and then the others that aren't are willing to ally with them, which is disgusting and horrible and gross. Angela, you've had a history of this, though, because at prior Rage Against the Machine or War Machine events, you guys have gladly worked with communists and
yes.
I don't use Russian propagandists lightly, but literal Russian propagandists. And the fact that you guys were able to...
Like who?
Like Jackson Hinkle, for example, spoke at your...
I think he's a Russian propagandist now. I didn't think that then.
Well, then you guys were useful idiots for him back then, and you guys were also useful idiots. No. Well, you guys should have... No, you guys should have better foresight, and you guys should have... No, definitely.
You got to ally with people you don't agree with.
You should ally with
absolutely.
If that will win you the war.
Well, here's the thing.
The Americans did it in World War II, bro. Should they not have?
So I shouldn't work with communists. No, I don't believe communists are ever right, and I don't think we should ever.
So if you could change the history, you'd say the Americans should not have allied with the Soviet Union to defeat the Nazis.
We didn't need to.
You know what?
What the hell does that mean? We didn't need to.
Wait,
on the Western Front, bro.
Totally.
Okay, wait, hold on.
Let me tee this up.
I also don't agree that we should have allied with the Soviets because we ended up with a Cold War and it was disastrous.
It would be a Nazi planet if we didn't.
No, it would not have.
Of course it would have been. The Russians were getting grounded to
We
paste.
bailed out the Soviet Union.
They were dying on the front in mass. British planes were over there saving their lives. What do you want? We had to ally against a worse enemy. That's what happens in politics.
I would argue that the Nazis and the Soviets are very, very bad, and we decided to ally with one bad for the other bad.
They were less bad.
And it's the end result. Looking at World War II, it's not so easy to say. Actually, let me put it this way: there were people protesting. What was it? There was a protest outside some anti-communist thing. They were protesting that the communists saved us from the Nazis, and it's like. Bad guys were fighting each other, I guess.
Yeah.
We should not have aligned ourselves with the communists. We can fight the Nazis and let them do their thing and get flattened. In fact, we could have let them crush each other and then pick up the scraps.
Well, they were allied
for this.
So let's not get all worked up over communists. Let's look at an objective. Let's look at political strategy and see the trajectory of the whole thing. And pull our feelings out of it for a moment. Angela sets up Rage Against the War Machine. Who do we have speaking there? Tulsi Gabbard, Ron Paul, Jimmy Dore, bunch of people on the left and the right. Dennis Kucinich. We invited Kennedy. He was doing his book tour, unavailable. We had basically his future campaign manager there. Angela, shortly afterwards, very diplomatically, politely, just sort of lets some of those connections go. No names, but holds on to the rest of them. Angela sets up Rescue the Republic. Who comes, there? Kennedy, Tulsi Gabbard, also Jimmy Dore. We did have someone there who was critical of Israel. What are they doing there? Essentially rallying for President Trump and the coalition. Who gets elected? Not just President Trump, but also his coalition. Kennedy, Tulsi, all of the people that we wanted made
Elaad.
it in. What was the beginning of Rescue the Republic? It was defeat the mandates, which Brett Weinstein and Matt Toon did, and Rage Against the War Machine.
Yeah, but now
Rage
getting-
Against the War Machine
But
helped
on the
President
Rage
Trump
Against the War
get
Machine as like a
elected.
pro-Trump rally, I think is crazy. And I think
I
Rage
didn't
Against the
say no. You're way oversimplifying it. You have to look at like political plays and adopt a more long-term strategy, and that's what I did, and I delivered results.
Why
and
do
I
you
have
think-
zero regrets.
Why do you think the communists were so willing to work with you guys?
Because hardly anybody ever is.
Well, because they oppose the interventions.
No, because they're useful idiots for the left, in my opinion. They know that
okay,
you guys
okay.
bleed away.
Oh, my
no,
God.
I don't mean you
Elaad,
personally. I'm talking about
Let's
the party
pause
writ
so I can
large.
address what you just said. There are special interests that exist. There's millions of them.
Yes.
They have agendas and would like to accomplish those agendas. There will often be two groups that largely oppose each other that seemingly align on a core issue towards their agendas. The reason the communists are anti-war is not the same reason that I or Angela may be anti-war, but if it stops these interventions, then we're both happy temporarily.
Sure, I guess my values and priorities never align with the communists, and I wish you guys could say the same. Tim, I don't know if
that's
you'd
incorrect.
be willing to work with
I don't
communists,
know about
communists
that.
as Angela.
Yes.
You got to think
Okay,
politics,
good. Well,
man.
I
If
wouldn't
you're
be,
going to
because
be a
that-
political leader, you can't
Yeah.
say I'll never ally with X.
You have to be able.
It's not that, Elaad. It's that one day a guy walks up and you're holding a sign that says something like, let's just say lower taxes 5%. And the guy walks up and he sees your sign and he goes, I'll stand with you, brother. And you go, thanks, man. You fist bump him. And then afterwards he goes, I'm a communist, by the way. And you go, oh, I should have had better foresight.
Yeah,
Come
I
on,
think there are
dude.
things. So I think if you believe in lowering taxes, but if you're also for training the kids, if you're also a card-carrying
But
member
most of
the
those people
DSA, if you
aren't.
want to,
What does
I
that
think
have to
that's-
do with passing
Yeah.
let's say that there is a proposition, let's say there's a proposition in your state that says something like, we are going to stop spending money on I'm going to give you on widgets. It's a hypothetical. You find out that there's a bunch of money being funneled to widget companies. That's a waste of money. Then you say, I need people to sign this so we stop wasting this money, and you get a bunch of signatures. The proposition passes, they cut the funding, and then you find out, Elaad, every signature was a communist.
Yeah,
oh my
here's
God.
The difference, though, I'm not willing to build a coalition with people, even if they may agree with me on lowering taxes, are communists, believe in abortion until the day of birth, believe in sex change for minors.
Then you're going to lose.
Yeah,
No,
that's not how you
I'm not going
win.
to lose, actually, because I think the country's against it. And they didn't just vote with the communists, they held a rally with them. They didn't have to hold a rally with them.
Yes,
And
I
I think
did.
this helps normalize,
Yes, I did.
to finish my point, I think this helps normalize communism in our country. And communism is still a grave
Elaad.
threat. The Democratic Socialists of America is still a grave threat.
We
And I
all
think,
agree.
again,
You're not making a point. You're the guy in the meme in the corner of the room at the party going, they don't know that I oppose communism.
You
Well,
should
everyone's
join
dancing
the
together.
Libertarian
No.
Party.
You guys are the
because
meme
you
who
are
help the Democrats get elected who
purity
think they're
spiraling
too
right
smart.
now.
Oh, we're not going to support the
That's not a meme. You're just saying-
Republican.
you're just
We're going
saying
to support
things.
the third party. No, there's the dumb like, oh, I'm a libertarian. I'm so smart.
Well, it
I'm
used
not
to
gonna
be-
support
this
the
time around,
What, you're
vote
just
for the
making a meme.
libertarian, and then the Democrats going to.
But I literally helped President Trump get elected, so all of your concerns are just
Yeah, you should say
they're
thank
not
you.
valid.
I understand.
Yeah.
I think
The
the
Bucks
president.
County-
Yeah, I don't think you guys should toot your horn that much. I think the
Bucks-
libertarian vote was irrelevant in this campaign,
There's
and
no
I
way,
think Trump
dude.
would have
No,
easily
dude.
won without you
The
guys.
Bucks
You actually
County,
look how.
Pennsylvania data. I know the data better than you, my friend.
Okay, even if he lost Pennsylvania, he still would have won the election. So how's that for
Bucks
data?
County, Pennsylvania, and it was the same in many
Even
other
if he lost
states.
Pennsylvania, he
many
still would have
other
won, right?
states.
If he lost Pennsylvania, he would have won the election.
Sure.
It's not just the win; it's the way he won. He put Kennedy in his cabinet. dude.
Magnanimous.
That's
It
the
was
revolution,
a
man.
fantastic win.
Yeah, I think it's nice. A lot of people like to take credit for the president's win. I think the president's responsible for his win.
It was all of us,
Anti-communism
dude.
is what animates.
It was
my
everyone
politics.
that spoke for
I've
him
never-
and voted for him. We all did it together. I was
It
part
was
of
a
it.
coalition effort. Coalition.
So I think
let's put it this way.
Let me say this. When you're saying no, I wouldn't ally. I think you're coming from a position of privilege personally right now because you live in America. All your needs are met. If it's war, if it's real war, you don't have the opportunity to say I won't ally with them because of their ideology. If they're
that's
willing to
even
fight with
worse,
you,
Ian. That's an even
Elaad,
worse case. I don't want to
Elaad.
fight an ally with communists
Elaad.
because they'll take over after, and then I'd
Okay.
just be assisting.
Well,
in
they
getting
did.
to the
Elaad, I have a
Soviet
question.
Union. They would make you a useful idiot.
Okay,
for
guys,
Soviet
guys,
Union.
I have a
didn't
question
take
for
over.
Elaad.
The American liberal economic order destroyed it.
The USSR took over a lot of countries.
I have a
failed,
question
and
for
the US
Elaad.
It took
Ian.
it took 80 years for it
Elaad,
to
I wanna
fail.
destroy him in
It took
combat.
80
What?
years
Or in
for the Soviet
conversation,
Union.
I mean.
It took millions of lives, millions of innocent lives to be killed before the Soviet Union
Yes,
fell.
and
Do
it
you
fell.
want the Republicans to win the midterms?
Yes.
You need to get votes across the board, and everyone in politics knows this.
Are you naive enough to think communists are going to be the ones voting for
I did
Some
not
of
say
them
communists
did.
would. I said there's going to be many disparate political factions, many of which are aligned against you, but on singular issues may actually vote for your candidate. So if the Libertarian Party can give a 1% edge, that secures many toss-up districts for the Republicans. Why would you be like, you guys work with communists, so I think you're bad, and get out of here? They'll go, okay, we'll go vote for the Democrat, I guess.
Tim, you're so naive. I think they're already spoilers in these elections. They're already doing that.
You
Thank God
think
for
that
my
libertarians,
gay
conservatives, that's the problem.
Candidate. Thank God.
I think that
talk
they're
about that.
more conservative than liberal.
You're
in
wrong.
most cases.
You're completely wrong.
Okay.
This is what I can't stand about Republicans. They're like the traditional conservative Republican guys go, the Libertarian Party should just dissolve so they could all vote conservative. I'm like, have you met one of these people? They want to smoke pot on a beach and trade hot dogs and Bitcoin and buy drugs. They're not conservatives. They don't believe, like they're pro-choice. They're not voting for Republicans. The Mises Caucus was an exception with the Libertarian Party. You are not. You are trying. This is what politicians do. They go up on stage and they wear a specific tie with a specific shoe. You guys got to watch The Adjustment Bureau with Matt Damon. It's a great film. He's got a political consultant, and he explains how they told him, you got to wear nice shoes, but they can't be too nice. They got to be scuffed up a little bit because otherwise you'll alienate the working class. But if you don't have nice shoes, you look unprofessional because they're trying to maximize the lowest common denominator to get as many votes possible. What you're describing is just nonsense. No one in politics would agree with you. Anybody working for any consulting or political action committee is going to be like, this guy's an idiot.
What specifically, Tim?
There's
What
literally a
specifically did I say
group
that was
called
wrong?
MAGA
Please,
communists.
You would not work with people.
MAGA communists, it's an oxymoron. You could say whatever you want on the internet. It doesn't make it a real thing. Like, I don't think there's a serious MAGA communist constituency just because some idiot on Twitter tweets about it.
I'm gonna answer your question.
Okay.
On the issue of a proposition that you want passed, and you have various NGOs and political actors funding it, you will often find, depending, there's going to be a leftist group and a libertarian group that agree. A conservative group might agree sometimes with libertarians as well, and they're all fighting to maximize their votes to get a law or proposition through. This means that someday you'll be like, really, the communists and the libertarians actually, the tankies are agreeing with communists on this one issue? How strange. But guess what? If it passes, then you are happy. You will not win elections unless you are willing to find votes wherever they can be.
100%.
I think Republicans could win elections without trying to curry favor with communists. And I hope we continue to prosecute, frankly. We should disenfranchise communists in our country and not try to involve them more in our political process. I genuinely believe that. And that's why I was so disgusted, frankly, with what the Libertarian Party was doing, because when I was younger, I feel like I had an affinity for libertarians.
Well,
I
maybe
feel like a lot of
politics isn't
small
for
government
you.
conservatives, when they're younger, you like guns, you smoke a little pot, you don't think gay people are the absolute worst thing in the world. And you could have an affinity for it. You might say, hey, these foreign wars, maybe we shouldn't be involved as much. And, you grow an affinity. Then, you think, hey, maybe the libertarians aren't that bad. Then you grow up and you see what they're actually doing in the real world and how they're willing to ally with really the worst people and then, try to impact change. But really, the Rage Against the Machine rally was so...
That you missed.
It was a
They
great-
didn't ally with the worst people. They allied with American communists. The worst people in the world would
The worst people
cut people
in the
open and
world
poop in them.
People
are
in the
American
world
communists.
Were
No,
like
no. You
killing
don't know
each
the
other.
Wait. Not the Chinese ones, the American
The
ones.
American communists. The
it's like
American
cannibals
domestic.
and
That's a domestic
Sorry,
threat.
Angela, what were you saying?
I mean, I think that was a fantastic rally, and I also think that the cause was absolutely legitimate.
You know
and
what I
that
think-
The United States shouldn't have been playing.
You know what I think happened?
Platform communists and
Ukraine.
Russian propaganda.
You know what I think happened? I'm just imagining like, Elaad's at a club and he's like got a drink and he walks up to some girl and he's like, hey, I'm Elaad. And she goes, no, thank you. And she turns on and grabs Hassan Piker's arm. And he's just like, these communists.
I think
taking everything.
The biggest part, libertarianism works, I think, domestically very well, but not geopolitically, because war is a very important part of our survival. And anti-war makes no sense to me anymore. I used to be like, end the wars. That's not how the world works. Aggressive men want to take.
Well, that's first order thinking. I'm not anti-intervention or anti-war because I'm like, war is bad. I'm like, the strategy implemented by the United States military-industrial complex and NATO in Afghanistan and Iraq was an abysmal failure.
Yeah.
Their attempt at nation building over 20 years was clearly not going to work with a bunch of mountain-dwelling goat herders like it did in South
Except
Korea.
at the cost we paid, we set up a staging area to defeat Iran. So maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong. I don't know. But now we have Iran by the nuts. We have Israel with nuclear weapons pointed at every country in the Middle East. It's basically like we're winning the world war. So
No,
That's
Afghanistan
a very
was an abject
non-libertarian way of
failure.
looking at things. I'm sorry.
Afghanistan was abject failure.
I mean, it was pretty rough. It was a horrible, horrible thing to me in a lot of ways. But
It was
we've
obvious
maintained
from the
area.
get-go that these strategies were insane. And I'm not saying that because I'm like, why are people throwing rocks at each other? No, I'm like, wait, you mean we're going to commit hundreds of billions of dollars to try and convert Afghanistan into South Korea? Have you looked at these people? They can't do jumping
They
jacks.
don't know what cities are.
Yeah, no, but have you seen the video of the Iraqis trying to do jumping jacks?
Yeah.
They're not called jumping jacks. It's like a military term for it. And they're going like this. I'll pull it up. I'll pull it up. And look, South Korea. Koreans are intelligent people. They're very intelligent, actually rated as second highest IQs on average. The U.S. occupied South Korea for generations. We're going on almost 70 years. This created an Americanized population. They are capitalists. They are business. They run business. Samsung is their biggest economic driver. And you can look at South Korea and go, these people are intelligent and very capable. You go to Afghanistan and you're like, you think you're going to pull off a South Korea here?
No, they wanted the land. They didn't really care about the people.
The lithium, the land, et cetera. But they tried to nation build. And the strategy was you need 3 generations to turn these people into westernized, a liberal democracy nation. I don't mean like liberal American. I mean the idea of like a Western nation.
Right.
You were never going to pull that off. These people operate under this weird blank slate assumption that these goat herders who live in mountains could adapt to this, could be developed rapidly. It didn't make sense. It was a failed operation.
Yeah.
Now, as for Iran, there is a wholly different question. As I've said before, I am skeptical. I don't know that it's going to play out the way we want it to. But the question is, why are we doing it? And what can we understand about it? Now, this is where I can go to many of these libertarians.
Sure.
I don't believe they're being honest. I see this commentary where they're like, Trump doesn't know what he's doing. Trump's an idiot. And I'm like, well, first of all, Trump probably doesn't know what he's doing because he's not the one running this. And it's probably not Hegseth either. It's probably a large military and intelligence apparatus. When you take a look at what's going on with this war, again, Afghanistan was not, they're hiding Osama bin Laden. No, it was nation building, and it was a pincer strike on Iran. Similarly with Iraq. But Saddam Hussein wanted to trade oil in euro, so we said he's a threat to the system. I shouldn't say we, it was the old liberal economic order. Right now, the U.S. made a move on Venezuela, seized the oil, surrounded Cuba, and then struck Iran, closing the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. is inadvertently, I guess it's a surface level argument, kept the strait closed, choking out China's principal source of energy and driving up the U.S. as a mass oil exporter, and displaced OPEC with the UAE now leaving OPEC. This is a tremendous boon to Western oil production. That is not to say it was intentional. I don't know. But the conversations around the war never bring up the long tail in this conflict. So it's not a simple question of war is bad. It's a question of what are we doing and why are we doing it?
With Clint Russell, particularly, who is great, one of my best friends actually, said he claims anti-war. And Trump said no new wars. I think a lot of these guys feel betrayed because he said no new wars.
People are upset about it.
But the reality is we've been at war since World War II. It never ended. They called it cold for a while. We still want to control the Suez Canal.
We're still at war in the Koreas.
I mean, I think that
It's an armistice. It's not a peace treaty.
People have a right to be upset about it. I have changed my tactic with how I approach those issues, and I am more diplomatic because I want to make wins here. It doesn't mean that I'm not anti-war. It means, and people are upset about it, but like my priority is getting these guys out of prison, and I would rather just try to use the influence I have,
I think that's what I was saying. A lot of it is lies, because I feel like anybody who's actually trying to assess the situation who is skeptical on it is going to be honest about the long tail of this conflict, meaning Venezuela, Cuba, Iran, China, et cetera. And
I think there's also a lot of pressure that's being applied on China's allies. Whether or not that's right or wrong, is maybe another discussion. We could have that or not, but I don't think that it's just Iran, Israel, Iran.
It's a lot of people are just Israel posting.
Yeah,
like
I'm not posting.
And I'll say this to Clint again, that he comes up, and when he comes on the show, I'll say it to his face. He made a fake video falsely attributing my argument on Israel, and then put me on the thumbnail screaming, saying Israel derangement syndrome destroyed, which he actually didn't address. For which Israel derangement syndrome is not when you criticize Israel over war in the Middle East. It's when you claim that Israel's running the opiate trade in West Virginia.
Sure.
That's retarded.
And I don't think that that's Scott Horton's position.
I agree.
Anything.
Or Dave's.
And that's why I think, like libertarians who want to attend the anti-war rally in Grand Rapids should do so. Try to do it with a little bit more thoughtfulness and not have Israel derangement syndrome. Do it from your point of being principled or whatever.
We're going to keep this going. But I want to pull this article up from Mediaite. House Democrat reveals she's working with other countries to get oil to Cuba, which includes Russia. Why are Democrats colluding with Russia against U.S. interests? Indeed. This is Pramila, Jayapal. And she's got this video where she discusses, I'll play a little bit for you.
In January, Trump issued an executive order threatening tariffs on any country supplying fuel to Cuba. This was this January, just a few months ago. And oil shipments from Venezuela, that's where Cuba had been getting its oil, were halted after the U.S. operations to kidnap Nicolas Maduro. Since January, only one Russian tanker of oil has made it to Cuba. In fact, it landed just a couple of days before I landed. And one tanker has enough oil basically for 10 to 14 days of Cuba's oil needs. So it's a very limited amount of time. Now, Russia has said they're going to send another tanker. I was in conversations with the ambassadors from Mexico and some other places, and I know other countries in Latin America are trying to figure out how to get oil there.
Why is an American member of Congress talking with Russia and other countries to bypass our embargo and sanctions on Cuba?
Because she's sympathetic to the communist regime in Cuba.
Because when you asked this question earlier about does this mean the American people are Republicans? I would say this is not America. This woman is not American in the philosophical sense. Obviously, we can get procedural and say she's a citizen, she's in Congress. My point is the American, a nation is its people and its country's borders. The American people would not act against the interests of the American people. The enemies of the American people would. We have many people in this country who hate this country. When polled, do you believe that the United States is a force for good? Republicans overwhelmingly said yes. Democrats overwhelmingly said no. These people are actively trying. I have a few questions. Why would a Democrat seek to get oil? Period.
They don't.
No. These are the climate is bad and we got to stop using oil and go to renewables. Also, we should help other countries get oil.
They think that we're the bad guy. They really do. I think that Ron Paul and plenty of libertarians would oppose any type of meddling in the foreign affairs of other countries, and they could explain why from libertarian principle, like philosophically driven positions. But I think that these people on the left, they're like, the United States is bad and we need to do anything and everything we can to weaken it and to strengthen its enemies.
I think many libertarians agree.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Tim, do you think this is somebody who you could build a coalition with on an issue you guys may agree with?
Absolutely.
Okay, nice.
What is that question?
No. I didn't know if you know.
I mean, if she wants to
like
lower
literally
taxes,
an American citizen.
If she wanted to make it so that we'd lower, like maybe she comes out and says ATM fees are a ripoff, overdraft fees rip off the American people. I'd say
most
agreed.
definitely thinks that.
I agree with that.
Okay, here's one that's a little.
Sorry. Do you think that so there's a guy out there right now, and he's a working guy, and he's a good, honest guy, and he's leaving work, and he says, "I'm going to pick up some food for my family." So he goes to Wendy's and he orders 5 meals, brings them home, and his family all eats. And then the next day he goes to get gas for his car, and his card's declined. And he goes, and he opens up his app, and he sees he has negative $89, and goes, "How do I have negative $89?" Turns out he only had $27 in an account the other day when he bought those meals, which cost $31. So that put him -3. Then he got an overdraft fee immediately for $35. Then once midnight struck, they gave him another overdraft fee of $35.
That's happened to me before.
It happens to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And basically the way it works is if you're poor, the banks rip money out of your account and keep charging you. And if you're rich, you get free money. Now, I have no problem if Democrats proposed a bill saying banks cannot charge overdraft fees over and over and over again. In fact, I'd argue they shouldn't be allowed to charge overdraft fees at all. If the bank decides they're going to allow my card to run for more money than is in my account, that's your fault. My account goes negative. All that means is there's nothing to take out and I got to pay you the $3. You fronted me. Now, if Democrats propose that bill, I'd say agreed. Would you not?
On that issue, actually, no. You agree to the terms to the credit card, and if you're not to your debit card or whatever, and if you're not responsible enough, your bank, no, whatever, if you're not responsible enough to not overdraft your card, then maybe you shouldn't have a credit card. Actually, maybe that's on you. Maybe if you don't understand how credit cards work, maybe you shouldn't rack up too much debt, and you should understand your
let's try this a lot.
Or you wouldn't have access to credit.
Let's try another one.
Debit card.
No. Let's try another one. No. Hold on. You're wrong. Let's try another one. So a guy,
yes, an opinion,
and I'm going to explain to you why you're wrong because
my opinion's wrong.
Your opinion is incorrect because it's based upon false presumptions.
Which part is false?
If you're not responsible enough. So let me give you another example. In Chicago, 20 years ago, a scandal erupted after the CTA started double charging people. People would go and buy a card. They'd buy a $20 card.
That's the exception, not the rule, though. That's not how most people in our country get overdrafted on their credit cards. That's different, Tim, obviously.
So let's propose. The Democrats say, in the instance that a fraudulent or mistaken charge overdrafts you, banks cannot charge you repeated fees. Would you agree with the Democrat on that?
There's certain people in the I agree on principle.
Would you sign the bill?
I wouldn't work with Pramila Jayapal on that issue because there's certain people who are beyond the pale and beyond the coalition of who I'd want to build. And that's including people like her.
So when you ask me,
come and go,
and that's what I was trying to understand from you. It wasn't, that's it. You're willing to work with people like Pramila Jayapal, and that's great for you.
Yeah, the idea that Hitler shows up with, and he's going to, I'm going to give everybody free food, and you're like, yeah, but you are Hitler. It's like, take the free food and then kick him out.
I mean, here's an actual real world example.
Well, don't trust his free food, to be honest. My point is, if Nick Fuentes showed up to a rally and said, I got a bunch of extra money. If you guys want to order from the Portillo's across the street, I'll pay for it. No, because you're going to take the free food.
What if Miriam Adelson offers you $500 million?
Okay, so the Muslim community, especially in Michigan, overwhelmingly votes Democrat. If they, as some of them frequently do, want to kick all the the kids stuff out of the schools because they're socially conservative, yes, everybody should work to do that. And that's totally in moral alignment with conservatism, with Christianity, in my opinion, with libertarianism, because it's a fraud place to
let me ask you. So let's say a proposition is proposed in Virginia that would ban giving kids sex changes. And you need 3% more of the vote in the state to get over the line to ban child sex changes. And the only voter block you haven't gone to yet is the Muslims. Would you ask them for help?
I wouldn't hold a rally. Well, who would, or the Muslims? I'd try to court them. But what does that mean?
I'd hold a rally.
Would you?
Muslims would be welcomed at my rally. I feel like that's manifestly different from inviting communist organizations to the rally. Would I invite far leftist, terrorist sympathizing Palestinian and Muslim groups to my events? No, I actually wouldn't. Even if they did agree with me on that.
So just to be clear, you would rather allow statewide legal child sex changes than ask bad people for help to get it over the line?
Depends on how bad, but I don't think those bad people. I think this is a bad hypothetical.
I'm saying there's a bunch of pro-Palestine, we hate Israel Islamists, and they're saying I don't know enough about this issue whether to vote. You have a chance to go to them, stand before them all, and say, please vote to shut this down. You wouldn't do it.
I would not try to make common cause with radical Muslim extremists.
Okay, that's fine. You'll lose. That's all that matters.
Yeah, purism doesn't work in politics.
No,
you will.
I think I'll win.
That's the hypothetical I proposed.
Okay, well.
I said, hypothetically, you need their vote. Would you sacrifice your position because you don't want to work with these people? You said yes.
And by the way, Trump did a lot of Muslim outreach in Michigan, and Rick Grinnell also did too, because a lot of them are socially conservative. And they didn't like how Israel was being handled,
Socially
and they were like,
conservative.
can it at least be less bad? And they took a more pragmatic approach.
One of the problems we have in this country is that Democrats open the door and then you require their votes.
Yeah, you do. And so you work with whoever you can. And a lot of the people that I worked with
can't reverse it.
At Rage Against the War Machine, not all of them, but a lot of them, they're very sweet people. And I continue to have, working relationships with them on particular issues. Like the Schiller Institute people, they're sweet people. They're helping to organize the current Rage Against the War Machine.
Let me ask you this. Elaad, you have a donut shop where you sell donuts. And a communist walks in with a communist hat and a communist flag.
Communists are not welcome in my donut shop, period. Yes, Tim.
Okay.
So this is the thing.
Then a guy with a kafir, right? So it's called. He walks in and he walks up to the counter and he goes, I am going to buy 3,000 donuts right now, and everyone screams and cheers, and then he goes, for Palestine. Would you kick him out?
No terrorist rag-wearing extremists
You can-
in my MFing donut shop.
That's like saying I wouldn't work with. I was a Democrat. Now I'm not. Some people are communists. I was a communist.
cake,
Now I'm not.
Yeah, bake the cake.
What I agree with is communism sucks. What I don't agree with is communists are bad. Communists can become non-communists. If you ally with them and
A
you
lot
show
of
them a
them
better
have,
path,
too.
they might drop that old bullshit and become a real American.
Language.
That might happen. Okay, thank you. But that might happen. So
And you ally with them, they might take over and take away your rights.
Yeah, but they won't.
They won't. Okay, you'll just
Yeah,
trust
but a
them
lot.
that they won't.
But hold
I
on,
don't
hold
trust
on.
anybody, dude.
A lot.
That they
That's
don't
I will use them and
that's the
discard them and
that's the easy
transform
part.
them.
What you do is when you team up with them when they're sleeping, you implant a device in their brain that, like with Elon Musk's help, that can control their thoughts. And then if they betray you, press the button and they go, and then
Yeah.
they
Do you
don't
guys
think.
know what happened during the Chinese Civil War during World War II?
Come to the next rally. Free implants.
I know a little bit.
Free
No,
implants.
let's talk about it for a
Elon's
moment.
like, are you a
Japanese
communist?
Let's
Let's talk about what happened during World War II. What happened during the
The
Chinese
Japanese
Civil War?
had control. Well, the Americans sent troops in there, but the Japanese were trying to take Nanking.
Well, there was a
I
civil
think.
war going on between the nationalists and the communists. And
You tell it. You know.
they
better.
had a truce. They said we're getting invaded right now by the Japanese. Let's fight off the
Did they repel the Japanese?
mostly the nationalists did. And then once the nationalists were done doing the dirty work, the communists took over what was left of the nationalists.
So you're saying they should have let Japan take over?
So I'm saying as a result
What
of
Japan did to those people?
No. I'm saying that allying with communists in that case in World War II helped produce the CCP right now. We wouldn't have had the CCP had the nationalists not done all the
we
dirty
get
work
that.
fighting
Is your
back against
point
the
that
imperialists.
that they should have allowed Japan to conquer them?
My point was that they shouldn't have allied with the communists.
Then the Japan would have conquered
There's
them.
no other option.
Japan taking over China would have been a better case than if China were to
don't
be
think
fully
so.
communist.
Bro, they might have taken over the world
I
if they
don't
took
think
over
so.
China.
Yeah,
No, we were going to liberate. We liberated most
Elaad.
of the Eastern. Wait, we liberated most of the Pacific from the Japanese. We would have also had to do it with China.
We
as well.
kind of lucked
And I
out
think
on
we
it, but
should have-
yeah. It
we
wasn't
helped
like we
create
dominated.
one of the
We
biggest.
would have
this created
aligned
one of
with
the
the
biggest
Chinese.
cancers on Earth. The CCP as a result of this.
These are
decision.
really
by the nationalists.
difficult decisions to just casually be like, well, we shouldn't have aligned with them. We should have just let a foreign country take
Okay,
over.
here's what we're going to do.
No, we should let the communists. take
Elad,
over.
we're going to have you play Civilization, normal difficulty, and then Ian, you're going to play, and we're going to see who does better.
Oh, snap.
I will ally with my enemies to destroy you. just so
Oh,
you know.
snap.
And then I will discard them and use
Bro,
them.
what's going to happen? We're going to do a big multiplayer game. Everyone's going to team up and just wipe Elad off before he's discovered fire.
Diplomacy is everything in global
100%.
politics.
You're just gonna wipe. Tim, you're just gonna wipe me and my people out.
In fact, there's a game called Diplomacy, which you guys should all play because it's about betrayal. It's about making alliances, coalitions, and then betraying them. That is the
Who's
game.
the leader of the Israelis in Civilization?
I don't know if it's in the game. I don't think it's in the
What?
game. Yeah, it's not in the game.
Come to Angela's next anti-war rally where I say, President Trump, we love you so much. Would you mind dialing it down just a little bit in Iran? But it's totally up to you, and I understand your discretion. I'm just
Well, I know
passing
a fun
on
fact.
the word.
The Nazi was actually the good guy in Nanking, which is really weird.
Whoa, Israel is not in Civilization.
Wow, communists
That's
across the world
weird.
rejoice.
That's actually really
The
weird.
ADL has a write up on it.
No, this is actually interesting. Many players discuss the note. They note its historical and cultural significance. Biblical leaders like David or Solomon, major influence on the region and culture. Firax has avoided it likely due to modern political sensitivity around Israel.
Oh, because I bet everybody would be blowing up Israel in civilization. That's so terrible.
Jewish erasure.
That's so
Actually, that is
terrible.
really crazy. Whatever your thoughts on Israel, it exists as a political influence right now.
Wow, they were like, we don't want people blowing it up in a video game, so we'll just remove it.
No, I think they were concerned that there would be videos where Israel conquers the world and stuff like that too.
Oh,
Yeah. And people
That
would
would
make
be
weird
funny.
memes about it.
yeah, those memes would be a fire though. Those
That's
memes would be
wild. But I think it
memes
says
on
that
both sides.
people have made mods. So in order for people to get it, that's crazy. Civilization has all these different religions, but there's no Judaism?
That's
wild.
super anti-Semitic game. Sorry, just gonna come out and say it.
That actually is pretty crazy. Is that for
not-
real?
That's strange. I don't know. I've never played it.
I'm more
There's
of a
a-
Warcraft
there's a-
3 guy, not a Civ guy.
I don't play
Wow.
games. I don't really have a lot of fun.
That's actually
Games are
pretty
fun.
wild.
I thought libertarian women
They
are
got
gamer
everything.
gamer girl types too. So
I do politics and recently got a fish tank.
fresh or saltwater?
Freshwater. It's got a.
Did you buy it from a communist?
I don't know. I mean, I bought it in Austin,
Ooh,
Texas.
I don't do
maybe.
business. I would not do
Austin,
business with
Texas,
communists.
so
though,
probably.
seriously.
Well,
What
that's
would you
like-
do if like you went to a cheeseburger shop and like a normal cheeseburger shop?
I'm Jewish, Tim. I would never do something like
30%
that. Anyway,
And they had kosher non-beef cheeseburgers or whatever it is you guys eat, matzah or something.
Sure, yeah, matzah
And
cheeseburger.
there you go. And then like you're sitting there eating it, and it's the best burger you've ever had. And then you look up, and the guy's just looking at you, and you take a slow bite of your cheeseburger, and you're like, "Can I help you?" And then he pulls off his mask, and he's a communist.
How would you
I'd rather
gotta
it be a
tell you-
Muslim so he could be like, "Oh, don't worry, bro, the burger's halal." And then we could
I
be
ate.
Is it the same?
all good. I don't know, but close enough. They stole. Let's be honest. They stole our version of kosher, renamed it, tried
They
to do their
did.
own thing.
They did.
It's a spin-off.
It's a
I'm
spin-off.
tired of
They did.
acting like a lot of these other religions aren't just spin-offs, cheap spin-offs, frankly, of Judaism. But we don't need to get into that.
I ate at the Red and Black Cafe in Portland, Oregon. The food was so good, but unfortunately, because they are communists, they didn't know how to run a business, so they didn't stay in business.
Everyone
Keeping communists
knows.
out of business is
bro,
a good thing.
Everyone knows
They were
if
so
you
good.
walk into a coffee shop and the barista looks conservative, your coffee's going to suck.
It's
I
gonna
don't
suck.
drink coffee. All
Everybody
coffee
knows
shops
the
are communist.
communists make good coffee.
They make
for
amazing
Starbucks.
and failed actors.
Yeah.
My coffee preferably is made by someone with a lot of facial piercings, poor choices in tattoo placement.
I walk into a coffee shop, I see a pride flag on the logo. Well, at least my coffee will
be
be good.
great.
It's going to be great.
very obvious that it's better to say I don't like communism and not the individuals themselves because they can change. They can become different
By force.
Wait,
No, through waking up and learning things.
And by force.
I don't.
And by force.
I don't hate a lot
desperate
of people.
starvation.
You know, I thought one of the best things after Rage Against the War Machine was going to the rap party, and these people who otherwise hated me, all of a sudden viewed me like as a human being, and we had like a moment of camaraderie, and I was just like, wow, like. If we can stop hating each other over like BLM and all this other stuff, that I think there's
All right, wait, hold on.
I'd be proud to be
All right.
hated by people who support
Elaad.
BLM. I'd be proud to.
Okay,
be hated
I
by
got a
those
question.
people.
I got a
I'd
question.
be proud to be hated by communists. I'd be proud to be hated
Okay.
by
We
get
Islamists.
it.
All right, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
I got a question. So you're walking down the street in D.C., having just left the press briefing where, they were talking about how they're building a third ballroom on top of the other two because there's already another one. This is the future, by the way.
Beautiful.
And then all of a sudden, you see like a dude coming towards you, and he's like, "Arr!" And you're like, what is this? And you turn around, and there's like three more dudes, and they're like, "Arr!" And then you realize there's zombies, and then you're like, oh my God, there's zombies. So you grab a piece of rebar on the ground, and you're like fighting zombies, but they're overwhelming you. And then all of a sudden, a guy comes up, and he goes, quick, take this, and he hands you a gun. But he's wearing a sickle and hammer on his shirt.
Do you think that guy's giving me a gun?
Yes, you're being attacked by zombies.
No, Tim. They view us as subhuman.
Oh, the
Communists-
zombies
No,
literally
I think
are
you guys are
subhuman.
confused.
Okay,
about
hold
how
on.
Communists feel
Wait.
about us, guys.
Somebody, please make an AI short film of this, where the zombies are attacking and Elaad's fighting the zombies, but the communists are like, "No, we want the zombies to
The
win."
communists aren't shooting or trying to help people kill zombies. They're shooting pro-Israeli people, embassy staff outside of their buildings in DC.
just gotta
That's what
look
the
at-
communists
you
are
gotta-
doing. That's what people in the PCL, a former member, is doing. A former member of one of the communist organizations that I believe you had at the
What's
Rage
the
Against.
PCL?
Okay, wait, hold on. I got another
Wasn't
one.
the organization?
Wait, Elaad,
Is that
Elaad.
over there?
I don't know what the PCL is.
You're talking, so I got a question. Okay, so there's like a bus crashes right on the side of the highway, and everyone screams, like people fly out the window, and there's a guy and he's hanging and he's screaming, "Help me!" And you run up to the edge, and you see there is a 12-year-old girl clinging to his ankle, screaming, about to fall 100 feet, and the only way to save her is to pull both of them up. But the guy who's hanging on, he's a communist. Would you pull him up?
Yes, Tim, I'd pull him up. You got me. Fuck it, you got me, Tim. I guess I'm saving the
Honestly,
life of a communist.
You just
The
admitted
bigger-
you would save a communist's life.
There's a lot of
to
reasons
save the
to
life
save
of a little
communist.
girl.
Yeah.
I would. I think the big.
Okay, wait, hold on.
go.
Well, let's
There we
let's
go.
flip, wait. Let's flip it around. There's a little girl hanging on, and there's a communist clinging to her ankle, refusing to let go.
What if she's the communist? Let's start with that.
Exactly. How do you
no,
even
I
know?
don't believe children can be.
There are a
political
lot
ideology and
of
not be
former
brainwashed,
leftists
but-
who voted for President Trump in 2024. There are a lot of people who we would consider communists who lost their homes in the Palisades fire, who have flipped and they voted for Trump. I know because I
don't
follow them on
think These are
Instagram.
as big of a constituency. Nearly
Well, to
as you're
be fair
implying.
though,
It's
these are
crazy to me.
regular people aren't communists. Regular people
Yeah.
are just they believe wrong things.
Sure.
Yeah, some people think down with the government, down with the banking system, and then everything will be okay. That's a communist
Guys,
way to
communists
think.
want to come for your property. Communists want to come for your guns. Communists want to come for your children. Communists want to have limitless abortions until point of birth. And you guys are willing to ally with these people. I feel like you guys don't understand the proper threat from communism.
I don't understand.
Communists
No, I just
celebrate
understand
the murder
math.
of Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
Communists are celebrating the repeated assassination attempts on the president.
I just get math.
The
That's the
communists want Trump supporters dead.
What in any way
Wouldn't-
it connects communism to people supporting abortion up to
We
up to
wouldn't
birth?
What do you think the
ally
communists
with
in our country
every
support?
Communist.
But what does that
Hold
have
on,
to do
guys.
with
Wait,
communism?
Angelo's saying something.
We wouldn't ally with every communist. You have to be selective who you ally with, and you have to do some litmus test.
Yes, no communists. I agree. I mean, you need to be selective
There are
on who you bring to your
people on
coalition.
the left-
Maybe a liberal. I
If
would bring
aliens
in.
invaded, would you like fight alongside a communist to stop the aliens?
I think they'd come to take out the communists because
I
they
mean,
know
there's
better.
so many
I'm
situations.
not asking you about that. I'm
aliens.
asking literally. You're standing next to a communist guy and he goes, "Please help me stop this alien." Would you say okay, or would you be like no?
There's so many situations
Is it a
in
Jewish
life where you
alien?
have to ally with people.
What?
you
No, it's a
don't
regular.
agree
It's a
with.
a
Or
regular.
yarmulke on the alien? Is it yarmulke on the communist?
You can't answer it, can you?
No, it's a stupid question. Obviously, yeah, we'd kill the aliens. We'd try, but we'd probably lose if the alien was even.
No, you'd win if you came together.
Well, with
Would
that
we?
kind of attitude,
Okay.
you would definitely.
Yeah, would you team up with the communists to fight back the aliens? That's
I would have
where-
teamed up with the communists to fight back against the Nazis.
Yeah, well, Angela's willing to team up with the communists to rage against the war machine.
I team up with the alien to fight the communists.
I mean, alliances are not
Elad is laying in
friendships.
bed at night thinking about that rally, gnashing his teeth. Arrgh.
I really
few
did try to
times.
express myself clearly. Like, really, what animates my politics, what got me involved, was being so anti-left, and I thought people in the general right wing or center right were at least on the same page about that. I think these are
No.
dangerous extremists, and I think you are normalizing them, empowering them, and encouraging them to get more involved in the political process. And I think that's dangerous and bad for our country.
I got a question
And therefore,
for
I
you.
think you guys, as libertarians, again, not you in particular, but as a group and party
Is-
of people, are useful idiots for
We
the
get it.
left.
You said it. Is George Soros a communist?
Who?
George Soros.
I think he's more of a globalist lib than a commie per se.
Would you ally with him?
I guess it depends on the issue.
Only to fight aliens.
So the answer is yes in some circumstances,
And yeah, liberals.
but communists no.
I gotta say,
correct.
I was not.
So who name a prominent communist like
I
a?
don't know, Hassan Piker,
If Hassan offered you $1 million to do whatever you wanted, would you take it?
to do whatever I want.
Yeah,
I
he
wouldn't
said- he
take any
said-
money from Hassan Piker.
He's like, I want you to just do your thing, man. Like it's a grant, it's a donation.
I will not be funded or powered by communists. No.
I don't know if I'd take $1 million from Hassan Piker.
No, I agree. I wouldn't.
Yeah, but I mean, I think
That wasn't a gotcha. I mean it.
there's a lot of situations throughout life, and not all of them are political, where you're going to have to work with people you really disagree with, and that's the way to move forward.
Yeah, but I think there are consequences to that maybe I don't think the libertarians have fully thought through or don't recognize the threat of.
That might be true. There are often unintended consequences to allying with people, and sometimes the path of least resistance is
But-
the most dangerous path.
I want to stress this. I view the Libertarian Party as a spattering of individuals who are all upset the one thing they want to do is illegal. So the thing that strings them all together is, can I get my thing made legal? So that's why you've got some people that are just like, we want to buy drugs. Some people are like, we oppose war.
The ideological umbrella is too large, in my opinion, for the Libertarian Party. Not just the Mises Caucus, but a lot of other people in the party skew socially conservative, not super conservative. At this point, it's like social moderate, like just 2000s level. Like, what? Trans kids? No, that's bizarre. What are you talking about? Just
but
like
you guys
normal.
keep nominating.
Oh, I'll nominate him every 4 years. If I have to nominate Chase Oliver every 4
spoiler?
years to get a good GOP, not a neocon, not a rhino, to get a good GOP candidate elected, to get JD Vance elected, I will hit that Chase Oliver button every time.
Is that what you found? They nominated Chase Oliver, and then people were just like, "I'm not touching it. I'm voting Republican."
Oh, yeah, absolutely. People were just like, wait,
Oh,
what?
I
Because
get it now.
if Dave
The
Smith
reason
had-
why Dave Smith and Clint are hardcore anti-Israel is they're trying to pull all of the Democrat voters away because Trump's not going to lose his base.
I could have. There was just barely enough political will. I wouldn't have been able to pull everything I did off, but I could have pulled Chase off the ballot and replaced him with someone else.
Really?
Yes.
With Trump?
I'm not going to say no.
okay.
Trust me, I tried.
With the libertarian. Yeah, okay.
I didn't have the political capital for that, but I was able. There were a couple of other choices I could have, and it would have hurt President Trump's campaign. Ross might still be in prison.
Yeah.
Kennedy would not have gotten his HHS position, most likely. That would have disrupted that. Like, it would have created the chain reaction that was just garbage. So instead, what I did was I continued to work with Trump, continued to work with Kennedy, put on the clown nose for Chase Oliver, just grin and bear it the whole time. People were very angry. I got sued twice over the entire thing. Membership collapsed because Chase Oliver was such a bad candidate. And I said, well, the party elected him. So that's
it all
what
makes
we're gonna
sense now.
do.
The Israel posting stuff is going to pull votes from Democrats because Trump is the one who started the war. So anybody who would normally be opposed to this, their choice is Democrat, but now they have another choice. So it's spoiling.
Libertarian.
The libertarian vote will pull from Democrats, not Republicans.
At this point, you're well, I don't know. I don't know until I keep looking at the data all the time, and it's just frankly confusing. It's just frankly
fake.
confusing. Yeah, it's
all fake.
It's
What data? What's confusing?
just polling numbers in different states. So, New Hampshire is a really good. This is going to be a fascinating one. You have Sununu running, not governor, but his brother, and he was in the Senate before. And was not real crazy about President Trump. And he's running against a Democrat in 2014, 2026. I can't recall the exact year. Anyway, Aaron Day ran as a libertarian/independent candidate and wrecked the Senate. And he did it like twice in a row to the point that the GOP just gave up in New Hampshire. So now he's announced again that he's running because he wants these people to be free. And he's got some other, like grievances with like Howard Lutnick and the Clarity Act and so on and so forth. But he's like, if the administration will sort of do like a Ross Ulbricht deal on some of these other crypto prisoners, I'll drop out. And that race seems to be it's been pretty neck and neck. And Aaron, unlike the typical paper candidate, neckbeard guy, he has money and he can run a campaign that it'll pull more than 1%. It may pull up to 5%. That would decimate that candidate. The polling there, that data, that's very important to get accurate polling information to see what's.
I think everything's fake. I think we're post truth at this point.
Yeah.
There's
So
much fake.
I agree.
But don't ever
here's
fall
an
into that
example.
everything's
Actually,
fake.
let me
It's not all fake.
I'm going to pull this up for you guys right here. This is a viral video that was going massively viral on X. Laura Loomer posted. Let me get the full post from Laura. She said, the psyop of Nick Fuentes is now complete. In case you were wondering why the New York Times has begun glorifying him, and he is botted on social media according to Elon Musk, and why he was never arrested over J6 when people who did far less were, he's a Democrat and just admitted to being a moderate Democrat on his show. If this is what moderate Democrats look like, imagine how much worse the woke and radical left Democrats are. His sole litmus test is hating Israel. It's been obvious for a while. Nick made a deal with Democrats, now we can all see it. Let me play for you what Nick said and explain to you how everything is fake.
I care about affordability. I care about foreign interventions. I care about the border. I'm a non-woke moderate Democrat. I think the GOP needs to be destroyed. I think the corrupt criminal government of Trump needs to be slowed down. We need to impeach the orange. It's time to put this nigga in a peach. Trump needs to be placed inside of a crystal. He needs to be impeached.
I do love that meme.
This fat orange tiny hands needs to be impeached. And then in 28, no Vance, no Rubio. We have to burn down the whole party.
So here's the important context, actually. Nick is not saying he is a Democrat. He was acting a Democrat. Yeah. So I got sent this video. I had people saying like, Tim, did you see this? You need to comment on this. Nick is saying he's a Democrat. And I'm like, wow. And I asked people like, did you see this thing? Like, and so the reason why I did not make a segment addressing this is because I'm like, bro, for all I know, Nick Fuentes went, guys, this is what I think Democrats are like. I'm a non-woke Democrat. I'm a moderate. Turns out that's exactly what he was doing. He said, he was basically saying, if you look at the community notes, fans of Nick pointed out, he's not saying I am actually a moderate Democrat. He's saying a moderate Democrat would say something like this. We got to get rid of Trump. He's got to be put in a crystal. He's got to be impeached. He then goes on to actually say after the fact, I would never vote for a Democrat unless they agreed with me. So, with all due respect to Laura calling him out, because he is anti-Trump, this longer clip, which everybody's like, oh, look, Nick's admitted it. No, he literally says, I would never vote for a Democrat unless they were a Nick Fuentes Democrat, meaning they agree with me. Again, the clarification is he was basically saying this is what Democrats think. He's making an argument that in the midterms, a moderate Democrat is thinking these things. Everything is fake. You see all of these things. They're always trying to take people out of context. And that's why I posted on X the other day. Actually, let me see if I can pull this up. I posted for the first time in my life, I'm voting Republican. Democrats have gone too far. 2 million views. I posted literally right after it while I'm recording a video. This is going to be funny. I'm never voting Republican again. I'm voting Democrat. 2 million views. And literally to make the point that There are people out there who produce content who know full well my point was that journalists take these things out of context. Sure. They will share whichever they choose to fit their narrative. And then, sure enough, people do. It's all fake. I have no idea what, like, I shouldn't just say no one actually knows. I will say one more thing. Right now, you've got Tucker Carlson putting out this thing saying he gets 56.8 million views per episode. If that were true, he'd be 20 times bigger than Joe Rogan, which it's just not true. What he did was he aggregated all views that he may have got from promo, from shorts, from clips, and then said, when they make an episode across every platform and every format, including shorts or otherwise, he gets about 56.8 million. Joe Rogan's probably way higher than that because of how many people are clipping. So this is just not correct. I will say this. The narrative right now being pushed by many people is that if you are in Trump's camp, your viewership is gone. Ben Shapiro's viewership is gone. The Daily Wire just fired half their staff. None of this is true. Everybody's viewership is down in politics because we are in an off season. But I can say this for us. We've had a handful of episodes over 1 million. We average 600, 700,000 on IRL. A few of my morning show episodes, one this week is at 700K. Last week was at 800K. I've got a culture war segment over 1 million on California. Our views are actually higher now than they were in the previous cycle. It is all fake. Everybody's making things up. And I'll add this one more. These people keep sharing fake videos, different kinds of fake videos, editing me. They'll take a statement on the show from somebody saying something like, well, I think Israel did bad. And then they'll pull a completely different clip from a different episode of me saying like, no, that one was good. I'm happy it happened. And it's just, they're fake. And for what purpose people are making fake videos where I defend atrocities committed by Israel, I do not understand their goal. But I will tell you, it's all fake.
It's to make you look like you don't have integrity. Because I think right now with the age of information, which we've had for 80 years or 60 years since computation, like now we've got the age of disinformation, the age of obfuscation, where you're trying to trick people with information. And so I think that integrity is probably one of the most, I was thinking, integrity is probably one of the most things you could possibly accrue in reality right now. But then I'm like, for what purpose? Like, is it better to like live an integral life of being true and then at the very end, you just deceive everyone for the public good? Like, is that really probably the best tactic?
Yeah, I mean, I think Laura Loomer was probably being a little dishonest here. I think so was Nick, and I think there's kind of layers to this. Yeah, he's cosplaying. Like, my comment on it initially was like, is this real? Is this like...
I can't blame Nick for this. If I said something like, listen, this midterm's going to come up and they're going to be independent voters who look at these voting things and go, listen, I do not like Donald Trump. I do not like J.D. Vance, but Democrats have gone insane. Who do I vote for? I say that kind of stuff all the time. Now, we actually literally pointed this out. What was the segment recently where I said I could say something like, what did I say?
You said you got like a call from Trump, right?
Oh, yeah. I was like, the media's lying about everything and people pull things out of context intentionally. Like I could say right now, I actually got a call from Donald Trump before he called out Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson. And he said, thank you, Tim, for being such a great supporter. To which I responded, Trump, I'd support you even if you shot someone on Fifth Avenue. And he laughed. He's a good guy. And then sure enough, all of these Israel posters spam blasted that clip out.
Here's what I wonder about integrity, because being honest, being truthful, what does it really even matter? Because AI is going to make deepfakes of you lying and like deepfakes of me lying.
It matters. I mean, yeah, I think it matters. I think it matters probably for the moral fabric of society. I think what Nick is doing here is, yes, he's doing the thing that he says, which is like cosplaying, but it's also mixed in with him saying things like vote Kamala, vote, like he knows that it's going to be clipped out of context and probably,
yeah, of course. I literally said it would too.
Probably derives a little bit of enjoyment from that chaos.
Yeah.
And I would
I think there's a moral philosophy here that people need to reconcile, and that is you are no longer actually going to sell. There are efforts to limit your reach to certain groups of people by falsely maligning you through AI and through edited clips. You can't change it. I'll give you another example. Mehdi Hasan debated Michael Knowles, and he asked Michael Knowles if he supported Trump pardoning neo-Nazis and pedophiles on J6, because the point is the people who support Mehdi Hasan just want fuel to be able to go, Michael Knowles supports pedophiles.
Sure.
So Michael Knowles says, I oppose pedophilia, I oppose assaulting police officers, and then Mehdi Hasan says he won't answer the question. The liberals get whatever they want no matter what. Sam Cedar came on the culture war and then asked me a hypothetical about conservative position on abortion. I explained I was pro-choice. He starts screaming at me, yelling about how I'm pro-life, and I'm sitting here confused, like I'm pro-choice. And then once he's done ranting, he goes, "Oh, I just want to get a clip." It literally just faked the whole thing because he knows his audience does not care. It's all fake. Like Candace Owens. Her lawyers work in a building with federal agents, and her top lawyer was an award-winning Zionist. Her family is apparently heavily invested in companies in Israel and Tel Aviv, and Laura Loomer is dropping all of this stuff.
Look, to be fair, with Zionism, you win, so I'd understand why she wanted a Zionist lawyer.
Because she wanted a good one. But it's funny how she comes out and attacks Israel while, again, according to Laura Loomer, her family is heavily invested in Israeli companies in Tel Aviv. Again, her lawyers work in a building with federal agents. Weird. And the people who follow her, the point is when she says debacle and kerflaffle, it's intentional. It's the Nigerian email scam. You say dumb things to intentionally weed out smart people.
Oh, I haven't thought of it like that.
So let me explain. The Nigerian email scams. Hey, I'm a Nigerian prince, but I'm trapped and I need $1,000 and then I can send you $1 million. They're intentionally grammatically incorrect with spelling errors. Now, midwits get the email and they go, this moron spelled payment wrong. I'm not falling for this. X. They intentionally spell things wrong because they know people of moderate intelligence will not send you money and waste your time.
Yep.
They make more money being stupid because stupid people don't notice they're being scammed.
Yeah, I will say
That's
this about
Candace.
Nick, though. The thing I hate the most about Fuentes is he has so much charisma, man. He has Riz. I'm not going to lie.
You know,
Can't
no,
deny-
I'm
he's
sorry.
A
I
great
like Nick.
speaker. He's probably one of the better podcasters as far as his tone, pacing, attention to detail goes.
He is.
You just have to hope
He has many bad
tired of
opinions.
losing, frankly.
But he has many
frustrated,
he has
man,
many
with the-
opinions
with
I
the
don't like.
economy. I get it.
I do not agree with him on largely on issues of race, and but he made a few important points. One, he called out Candace Owens for lying.
That's good.
But he also pointed something else out recently. Tucker Carlson meets with heads of state in Middle Eastern countries. This is not something a podcaster does. This is something a government actor does. Tucker Carlson is not just some journalist or podcaster. He is of worldly affairs, negotiating and cutting back deals and advising.
Oh, back room, not on his show.
Not on his show.
Because we've had like Dominic Tarzinski on here, Polish.
That's
Prime
fine.
Minister or whatever.
The point he was making is that your run-of-the-mill podcaster is not flying to Qatar or Saudi Arabia and meeting with the premier in private in private meetings discussing strategy. He's not going to the White House to meet with the president. Tucker Carlson is not just some podcaster. Now, again, whatever the implication you want to get from that, that's an astute point about who people are consuming their media from, especially when it says things like, I'm tormented for supporting Trump. And his brother immediately goes, maybe Miriam Adelson's money was for a reason. He goes, ha, 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 because he always knew what that money was for.
Of course.
So I think Nick makes a lot of really great points. And again, I think the reason so many young men listen to him is he's got a worldview on race particularly that I think I would describe as largely incorrect, but he hits a few points that speaks to a lot of young people. Particularly, I know where he grew up. He grew up a few miles away from where I grew up, and Jimmy Dore, in fact. Well, I don't know if Jimmy grew up there, but where Jimmy lived when we were all young. I know why Nick feels the way he does about a lot of these racial issues, and it's going to speak to a lot of young men. I don't completely agree with him. I largely disagree, but he's got some points.
I will say, too, he's also funny. He's very funny, and a lot more funny than a lot of the self-proclaimed comedians whose jokes I've never heard of. But this guy's like...
And I'm sorry, that video,
he'll go viral.
That video where he hurricane kicked that woman, did you see that one? Remember when that woman came to his door? It turns out he didn't just pepper spray her, he actually ninja kicked her.
Oh, no, I did see that video. I didn't know he kicked her.
Well, that's how you have
I
to
saw the
treat.
shove. I saw this.
That's how you have to treat people.
No, you're all wrong. You're all wrong. Let me pull it up.
You about to pull up an AI video?
Well, what are you talking about?
Oh, that's cool. Someone
Is it
turned
this
into a
one? Let me
martial
see.
artist. I mean, if Nick starts doing martial arts, he's gonna go alpha prime.
You got to hope
Needs
he
to
just
get,
gets tired of losing.
better on his economics.
Hopefully
Not
he
a
just gets
fan.
tired of losing and then understands with Zionism you win. I think there's time for him to come over to the bright side. I think he knows more about Judaism probably than I do, and he's going to keep learning, and eventually he's going to become completely enthralled with it, and then I think we'll want to convert. I think this is a long path
I think that dude's
towards
beyond
it's an
theocracy. He's beyond
infatuation
religion.
turning into a conversion.
I mean, I don't think he's. I don't know, man. People weaponize religion and make militaries out of it and countries out. It's just that's not what it's for.
This is actually really annoying. I can only find the real video. I'm trying to find the funny video.
Trying to find the funny
Is
one.
religion?
Yeah. Have you guys seen the funny video?
I have not seen the funny video. I mean, I thought the real video was kind of funny.
Yeah, he just went right at her. He like a head down.
That's exactly how I would react if some psychotic stalker was at my front
Some
door.
lady was banging on his door, had it, and he opened it. And she like put something. Did she put a camera in his face or something?
Yeah.
She was filming, right?
Yeah.
He just knocked her on the ground and pepper sprayed her, and then knocked her on the ground, or knocked her on the ground and pepper sprayed her. People were like, oh, Nick attacked a woman. It's like, bro, she was.
I also
she
think there
attacked
was
him.
something so messed up about, like, you know, he had such an aggressive beef with Charlie Kirk prior to his killing. He used to shit all over Turning Point USA. He used
Oh, I found it.
to harass
I found it. I
him
found
and
it.
His peers at their
Okay.
events.
I can't believe how long it took me to find this video.
All right.
So
here we
you've
go.
seen the video, right? The woman comes to his door.
Yeah.
Well, watch what he did.
Oh. Oh. Wait. He hooked her. Oh. Do it again. And then he
some Mortal
rewound time and
Kombat.
did it again. Oh. Get over here. Look at it.
She scored.
So the real video, he just shoves her. I saw this video going everywhere.
Pepper sprayed her and shit.
But come on, like, this is hilarious. You know
Everywhere
what I
with
mean?
500
I mean,
views.
He's a superstar.
it's just more evidence of like the great disparity between genders because he is not a tough guy and he's still able to knock her.
Here's the actual video. Here, watch this.
So she's been at his door for what he.
Well, hold on. I want to put the sound on.
It's a little. I don't know what she was doing. How long she was there?
Let's watch.
Hi. Oh my God! What are you doing?
What are you doing? What do you think?
I think it's pepper spray shove. Takes her phone, maybe?
What do you think?
I think he might have. I'm on Nick's side on this one. So
totally.
The issue is that his house was surrounded by people, and he was getting a bunch of death threats. He hears a doorbell. He hears his bell ring. When he goes up, he sees a woman holding her phone up, and I'm sorry, like, I understand the position of having thousands of death threats sent your way, and then we have people show up here in the middle of the night. We've been shot at. All Nick did was shove her off his porch.
We pepper sprayed her and shoved her off.
Good.
Right. I'm
Good,
saying, like, he
yeah.
didn't permanently injure
No,
her.
and
I
if he'd walked towards her and then hit her, he might be in jail right now. But he didn't. He walked towards her, got whatever that thing was, and left.
Listen, I'm going to tell everybody this right now. There's a reason why I think Nick should hire security for his house. I don't know if he's still in that same property. I will just warn everybody right now. If you try breaking out his property, you will die. There's just not a question about it. I can't remember. Was it Alex Stein who mentioned the guy walking around with the AR-15?
Yeah, it was him.
And I'm like, well, like, normally we don't talk about that stuff. He was like, I saw a guy walking around with an AR-15. A guy? So normally we just say we don't talk about our security measures here. But for your safety, if you try to illegally enter this property, they're not going to ask you questions about why you're doing it. This is West Virginia. So my point is, I think Nick did the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Many people were like, he should have just, let me give you a scenario. People are like, well, he shouldn't have answered the door. What if she started a fire?
Yeah. No.
What if she was going to spray something on the door?
She's the aggressor.
He's getting death threats.
She's the aggressor. She's the
Don't-
aggressor. If you're a woman approaching a man's door to harass him, you're being very stupid. Men are stronger than women, and if they're getting death threats, like what? What
We
is the
had
response?
a security incident I can't describe because it's easily weaponized. What someone did that forced the evacuation of our studio is comparable to what this woman was doing. If this woman walked up on the Ring camera, I'll just put it like this. I guess I have to describe this scenario. It's not exactly what happened to us, but let me describe it. If that woman walked up, rang the doorbell, and dropped a black plastic cube.
Yeah.
Let me explain this. You're like, well, this makes no sense. If she went to got a 3D printer, printed a 8-inch by 8-inch black cube, walked up, rang the doorbell, and put it on the ground, they'd have to call the bomb squad.
Absolutely.
So when she's on his porch and he sees in the Ring camera she's holding an object, so he sprays her and shoves her off his porch, that's the minimum. And I would argue he needs security and should call the police immediately.
Yeah.
The problem is they're not going to do anything. But I will say this again. We don't really have to deal with this right now because the way our security is currently set up and the mention of a single man with an AR-15, I believe 5.56. But however, it's as simple as I'm not going. There's a technique that is utilized by many of these people that is easily replicated for $10 that triggers not just the bomb squad, but a detonation. Like serious stuff that is very easy to do, which I won't describe how to do. It is not too dissimilar to what we are seeing in this video. If Nick were to have called the police and said a strange woman is on my porch holding a strange object, the cops would have pulled up with their guns drawn on her.
Totally.
So, again, I'm on Nick's side on this one. I think he actually beat the charges, and now she's suing him or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I heard he didn't get charged.
He
didn't
shouldn't.
He was arrested and charged. I think
he
they got
was.
dropped.
It's gross. You can't be charged for defending yourself when people are threatening to murder you.
I guess it depends on the city and the state you're in. Like,
Well,
are
sure.
you allowed to pepper spray someone
I mean,
on your
you
front porch
shouldn't
holding up
be,
an object?
Is this
You
the
shouldn't.
incident
I
that
got it.
happened like a couple of years ago or 2 years?
Something like that.
thought it
We
just
got to go to
happened.
Rumble Rants and Super Chats because I was off on a tangent on this Nick thing. Smash the like button, share the show with everyone you know, and make sure you go to castbrew.com and pick up the Mother's Day bundle. You got to get it quick. I know it's a little late because we're only a few days away, but look at that. You got the Cast Brew Vault Black, Cold Brew Concentrate, Appalachian Nights, and Golden Hour. And sometimes mom just needs a good cup of coffee. You know, there's a lot of work to be a mom. It's one of the most strenuous jobs. I got to tell you, it's a full-time job with no breaks.
Little caffeine to get it loose. Hey, I got a comment from Swan Song 70 says, "Can she talk now, Tim?" I think people like you, Angela. I'm glad you're here.
I think
Angela's
I
been
talked
talking
a
the
lot.
whole yeah.
I talked a lot.
I know, but you probably talk more.
I've been trying to
I wanna hear-
prompt
My
all
daughter.
night.
Huh?
My daughter. Is she talking?
Yeah, is your
What?
daughter talking?
Oh,
Indeed.
Oh, she is?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but I
old is
mean,
she
like
now?
baby talk. A year.
A
It's been a year. Yeah, it's
No, I think they were
it's been
saying,
a
"Can
whole
Angela
year."
talk more?" Because
Well,
I thought it was a
maybe
funny
it's
comment.
ambiguous,
What-
ambiguous.
That was a
Wait,
different,
what?
total non sequitur. The comment was like, "Can she talk?" I think they're talking about Angela. Like, you must have been talking while you're like, "I want to
I
hear
talked
Angela
to
say something."
plenty.
Oh.
I don't know, whatever. Guy.
Yeah, there was one period for like 15 minutes. These comments are always just like it's a meme or something.
Yes.
But I don't. Anyway,
I see.
Soupy
Nice.
says my daughter is in fact talking, and she's learning to weaponize.
What was her first word?
I think it was hello.
Oh, very nice.
That's
a good
adorable.
word.
Yeah.
She's beginning to weaponize.
Oh yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah.
Deceive?
Well, I mean, she just started saying words, so my wife melts when she hears mama.
Oh.
Yeah.
And so when baby wants something and she's going, and then, my wife is like, hold on, I'm getting it. She goes, mama. And then my wife's like, oh.
Dude, I've seen her make
gets
some
to run
faces
over.
where it's like, how do you defend yourself? Like some faces, it's just,
She-
I mean,
well-
you have to, but
She looks at me and she's in her play area. We have like a play area set up with like the special foam floor or whatever and toys. And then she's standing there and she's holding onto it because she's like starting to walk. And she looks at me and she's just babbling. And I'm sitting on the couch. I'm watching the Five. I got to get my gut filled in. And then I'm just like, is there something you need? And then she just babbles and I say, you can say dada. And then she goes dada. And I'm like, okay. And then I get it. I get up.
Gotta get it.
And I pick her up. Well, because we wanted to understand, we want to reinforce the use of the words. But she said backpack.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
Yeah. Because we don't actually enunciate the cuz in backpack. It's just backpack. So all she has to do is go backpack.
and she knows, like you show her the backpack, and
Yeah,
she
yeah,
knows backpack.
Allison pointed to it and she went backpack. And she looked up and went backpack. And we were like,
Nice.
let's go.
Nice.
Soupy says, I'm a fan of Elaad, but I have a question for you, brother. If the Libertarians didn't help Trump win and it was just him, then did Charlie Kirk and TPUSA help or no?
Yes, Charlie, comparing Turning Point's impact on the election to the Libertarians' impact is dumb, frankly. No offense. I just think Turning Point
No
had
offense.
a much bigger
All
impact
night it's
across
no
the
offense.
country. Very clear and obviously. I think, again, the Libertarians didn't really move the needle here. Thank you for the nice words, though.
The president literally told me, I got to get the vote. Joe Jorgensen, she cost me the vote.
Well, he was running, I think he was running for president. So I think it makes sense that he was trying to tell everybody that. And politicians lie to people to try to gain
Wow.
their vote. And I mean,
Wow.
I hope he gave you a very warm feeling because you did end
Wow.
up,
But they did
helping him out
swing
there.
it.
so-
The Libertarian Party swung it. They swung the election.
Did they?
Yeah.
It was
Why
a
do you think that?
coalition
They put
effort.
RFK in there.
Everybody
No,
worked
but they put a lot of
together.
people in a lot of different positions. Did any?
It was RFK. He drew like
Our RFK got the suburban women on Trump's side, which people largely credit for Trump's victory, indeed. And the reason why Candace Owens has been attacking Trump is because she's intentionally pulling suburban women away from the Republican Party.
Yeah. There were a lot of backroom
I
deals
think
that
there's
I
nothing
can't.
Libertarians won't take credit for. I guess you guys are responsible for electing
I
the president.
agree. Turning
Thank
Point-
you guys
Turning
so
Point-
much. You guys are responsible for now then everything that comes with that.
Just respond with
de
thank you.
facto responsible
so
for the
much.
Iran
Straw
war
man
and
with
Okay, let's-
supporting
let's- let's-
Israel so sturgeonly. So I appreciate and thank you,
you sound
Libertarians.
just
for it.
like all my Libertarian
let's-
Party members.
Don't
Right?
insult
let's
me
get
so
some more
much.
in here.
Do not, please.
All right, Federalist Patriot says Tim Afghanistan was absolutely a failure. Iraq is a far better place today. Look up vids of Westerners who have visited Baghdad. Yes, our pockets of bad people, but we have the same issue in USA. DC Pinut says jumping jacks, aka side straddle hops. Have you guys seen that video? Can we pull that up?
I want to see it.
It's
The Iraqi side street.
It's eye widening. The world is not.
Let's see if we can find it.
During the day, if you're an American, there's a lot of weirdness out there.
Is this it? Maybe.
Looks like.
I don't know. It might be, but let's see what happens if it loads.
I like the crouching and hopping.
This guy's got it.
Like partial burpees.
It seems like most of them have it.
This is wild because this is a kindergarten exercise, literally for
Well,
5-year-olds.
what people need to understand is that if the neural pathways are not developed at a young age, they cannot develop.
That's crazy.
For example, when they found a young girl in a basement of a house, she had been kept there her whole life and never learned to talk. She could only say a few grunts. She could say things like food, hungry. There was also the story of that young girl who escaped and had been kept in the basement with her brothers, and she had difficulty communicating with people outside because she never developed the neural pathways. When they try and later, there's a story of a young girl that never learned to talk and was basically like abused and left outside her whole life. When they rescued her and tried teaching her words, she could only learn like single things like eat, sleep, but she couldn't communicate effectively.
Yeah, you need. Well, I don't know if you.
There's another
need
easy way to explain
psilocybin.
it. There's a reason why some people can live in the United States for 20 years and never get rid of their accent.
Yeah.
Their neural pathways do not alter. They don't have the capability to speak differently, and they can't pronounce certain letters. It is always baffling to me that there are Asian people who can't say L's and some Asian people can't say R's. So I can't remember which country it is. What is it? Like in Japan, they can't say L's. They say Ra. But in China, they can't say R's. They say L's.
Yeah. It's kind of like an in-between sound.
Wrong time.
It's weird because
Wrong time.
la. Just like put the tongue on top of your mouth and go, okay. So I had a Spanish friend, and she used to call me Tim. And I was like, I didn't really care. She would just say, Tim, do you want to go get something to eat? And I'd be like, sure. Because it's like, whatever, I understand what you're saying.
Sure.
One day we were hanging out, and then I was like, can you pronounce my name with like an American accent? And she's like, what do you mean? And I said, my name is not Team. That would be spelled T-E-E-M or T-E-A-M. My name is Tim. It's an I, not an E. And she goes, I. And I'm like, right, so go ta. She goes, ta. And I go, now go I. She goes, I. And I go, ma. She goes, ma. And I go, ta, I, ma. And she goes, ta'im. She just couldn't say it.
It's funny.
Is that
Could not say it.
I hung out with a Chinese girl. That was a lot of fun trying to figure out each other's accents because they have that tonal language where they have these 4 distinct tones that are like embedded in their psyche. And we have like millions of we don't have a tonal language like they do. We have ours.
Yeah, we do.
No, it's not technically. English isn't tonal. It's not considered a tonal language.
Well, if you're speaking generally like...
We have sarcasm. That's our version of tone.
No, but we do use tone.
Correct. But it doesn't change the definition of what we say. It's not supposed to unless you're using sarcasm. Like, oh, yeah, right.
does.
Like that changes it. But in China, literally, if you say a word like this or like this, it has 2 different completely meanings.
That's true in English as well.
Not
Really?
No, if I say, what?
Really?
You think this or you think this? I mean the same thing. But in China, those would mean
I don't
different
think you're
things.
explaining the. Yeah, exactly.
You're
right.
saying like it can be dog or cat.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
Japanese has something similar too, where you can accidentally call someone their grandma if you're trying to order a pizza. Or it's like there's things like that on like the length of a vowel sound can change things. However, you're saying full words could be based on the tone. We do use tone, but I understand what you're saying. We're not a tonal language, but meaning is derived from tone. There's a thing in sales where they talk about uptones and downtones. And that's why you never end on uptones, because it sounds like you're asking a question.
That's very Canadian.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
You gonna sit over there then?
So I love inflection too in English. You ever see that inflection point where it's like, if you add emphasis on any one of these words, it changes the meaning?
Totally.
I never said she could have my car. I never said she could have my car. I never said she could have my car. I never said she could have my car.
Yeah, I used to do that.
I never said she could have my
car.
Yeah, exactly. Just where you draw the word out changes the entire meaning of the sentence.
Mike Myers was saying, he's a Canadian, he was saying the Canadian tilt or whatever he called it. He's like, you talk like this, and then you talk like this, and then you talk like this, and then you talk like this. And that indicates that it's their turn to talk when you go down at the end.
We have that too.
I think we do, yeah.
It's called downtones. So it's very important when you're ending your train of thought that you wind things down so that people know that your thought is coming to a close. Most people don't understand this. Do you know about the order of the structure of a sentence in terms of adverbs, adjectives? You ever see this?
What about it?
Everybody knows that if you saw let's say there's a rabbit, it is very large and it is the color brown. You would say a big brown rabbit. You would not say a brown big rabbit. That's improper English.
Yeah.
Most people can, if you give someone a series of adjectives, adverbs, and a noun, they will structure it properly. But when you ask them the order, they won't be able to tell you.
And then in Spanish, it's the rabbit brown. You say the brown rabbit in English. In Spanish, it's the rabbit brown.
You identify the object and then describe it.
Yeah.
But the point is, when we would say like a large, hairy, fast rabbit, there is an order to the description of the rabbit that has to be proper, whether it's the adverb or the adjective. And so it's actually really
Yeah,
fascinating.
the
Let me pull
adverb
this up.
describes the adjective. So
It
you're
just
like,
sounds weird and wrong otherwise. You're like, what is wrong with you? Why did you say that?
Like-
Sounds weird and wrong.
if I was like, if say a superiorly fat rabbit.
Check it out, check it out.
Superiorly is the adverb.
This is
Fat
crazy.
is the adjective.
Okay, so it's
rabbit is the
called
noun.
OSASCOMP. Opinion, size, age, shape, color, origin, material, purpose is the English structure for description that has to be followed, and everyone knows it. Everybody knows it. My beautiful big old round red Italian leather running shoes, as opposed to my red Italian big running old leather round shoes.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
Is
yeah.
it because they're going in a de-escalative
That's
alphabetical
crazy.
order? They're going from A to Z?
A lovely small young black cat. A black lovely young small cat. I can't say. Hard to say.
It is hard to say it.
That's wild. Not every sentence uses all categories, but the order still follows.
Yeah, it feels like there's maybe two that you can switch up every now and then,
Yeah.
but there's clearly ones you just cannot switch up. You cannot. That's a strange thing.
Good chat. Whatever.
There's also like a bunch of phrases that make no sense that we say every day, like used to.
Yeah, and the fly, the animal, a fly. Why do they
Well,
call it that?
but
Because it flies.
But that's a name. But think about this.
It's a verb.
I have a car. What's a good way of used to? Like what?
I used to
I used to use
jogging
this car.
every morning.
I used to. How do you look that up in the dictionary? Used.
I used 2 cars.
Yeah.
I used
used to
to.
Didn't you used to go running?
I
Didn't
used
you
to.
used to.
Yeah, I used to go running. That's how I say it. I used
Weird,
to
right?
use that thing.
What would you say in place of that? I don't even know.
All
used it in the
delightful,
past.
tiny, brand new, triangular, bright yellow Japanese origami folding papers. Some lovely, small, vintage, square, pastel pink Korean rice wrapping sheets.
I don't understand.
And those amazing, huge, antique, cylindrical, shiny silver Chinese lacquered storage boxes were neatly arranged on the wide wooden shelves of the cozy neighborhood craft store that opened last month on Maple Street.
But instead of saying Chinese lacquered storage boxes, I could have said lacquered Chinese storage boxes. I don't think it would change the definition of the sentence. But I got to understand more about what you were claiming there and what you were explaining, because
With what?
how the structure of these sentences and how they have to be a certain way and they follow a pattern.
There is, in
I
English...
don't want to waste time on the show doing it.
In English, you are there is a structure to descriptors in English that everyone follows and can naturally follow, hasn't been taught, just instinctively learned through learning English, and also can't describe properly. And that is opinion, size, age, shape, color, origin, material, and purpose. A big brown bunny, not a brown big bunny.
Yeah. Okay. Loud, fat, obnoxious, bald guy. What? How would it be better?
Tim Pool.
Yeah, we.
No, I'm just
no.
kidding.
Well, close, but
No, loud.
I don't know.
loud,
on your opinion,
Sorry,
too.
I feel
Immediately
bad
what I
about
thought
that.
too,
fat.
yeah,
so you
this
can
is
say
the first thought.
disgusting, loud, fat.
I feel like
Okay,
that's
wait,
not
Cheap
too.
bush.
Loud.
Well, here's why. Because bald guy seems like it goes together more than the others. Loud, fat, obnoxious. I feel like 2 of those are out of place.
Obnoxious
Loud,
should go
bald,
before.
fat, obnoxious guy.
We're going to
You can get
grab
away
one
with that
more,
too,
and then we
right?
got to go to the uncensored portion of the show.
Sound like, what do you
Raymond
want
G. Stanley Jr. says, Tim, that CKY meme for Jess is hilarious. If you want to see it, it'll be on the uncensored portion of the show at rumble.com/Timcast IRL. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Angela, do you want to shout anything out?
Yeah, absolutely. We're holding an event talking about the Bitcoin prisoners. We're going to be interviewing some of their wives and loved ones. Lynn Ulbrich will be there. The attorneys will be there. I'll be there. MisesBitcoinBall.com. Join us in Grand Rapids during the Libertarian National Convention. And shout out to those guys, cryptoprisoners.com. You can find me on X at RealAngelaMC.
This is actually really important.
We are over time.
A
So
lot of
please
these crypto guys have been overcharged. It was a muddy area for a decade, so I'm with you on this. We really need to go into this. I'm Ian Crossland. Follow me on the internet.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks for listening to me, B&M, bitch and moan about communism for an hour. I'm Elaad Eliyahu. You can find me on social media at Elaad Eliyahu.
Fascinating conversation. I really enjoyed it. You can find me at Carter Banks everywhere, and let's get into the after show.
We'll see you all at rumble.com/Timcast IRL right now. Thanks for hanging out.